Since you can't hold on, come with me. Han Yu held her hand. Protect yourself and the child. I'll go to the capital to look for you. Be good. Han Yu hugged Zhao Weiwei and led her to the Shishang. There were people from the capital base coming to pick up the Jing siblings. These people with a bit of status all knew that he was really worried about letting Zhao Weiwei go on the road alone. If he could go back with these people, it would be best. Han Yu walked in front of Shishang. Mr. Jing, Miss Jing, can I trouble you with something? No trouble. Shishang rejected very quickly. Han Yu. He took a deep breath. For the sake of the child, can Miss Jing send my wife and child back to the capital base? His face was not as useful as a child in front of her. The child opened his big eyes and looked around. He didn't know what he saw, but he actually giggled. He had no idea what was about to happen. Yiran suddenly grabbed Shishang's hair and nibbled on Shishang's face. It's useless even if I agree. This is Uncle Wu's team. Shishang turned around with Yi Ran in his arms. Han Yu patted Zhao Weiwei's shoulder. She had given in. As long as he could convince Uncle Wu, he could let Weiwei go back to the capital base with them. Uncle Wu's team had also suffered some losses on the way. At this time, there were only 2 helicopters. It was definitely more than enough to carry people. The key was that they still had to carry the data and equipment of the researchers. One more person was not a big deal, but Han Yu had also sent people to protect Zhao Weiwei. They definitely couldn't sit down. Captain Han, as you can see, these things can't be left behind. I can only take Miss Zhao and the child with me. If you're worried, you can also ask someone to take Miss Zhao and follow us in the helicopter. I'll try my best to take care of her. Han Yu, I can do it alone. I'll feel more at ease if they stay with you. Zhao Weiwei calmed down and took the initiative to speak. Don't make me worry. Han Yu's gaze pierced through the crowd and landed on Shishang, who was playing with the child. He didn't know why, but he had a feeling that as long as this woman was around, all the problems would not be a problem. After a while, he retracted his gaze. Okay. After settling Zhao Weiwei down, Han Yu said to Uncle Wu solemnly, "The Han family will thank you greatly." Uncle Wu waved his hand. The Han family had power in the capital, but now, the situation in the capital base was not good. It was hard to say what the situation would be like in the future. Han Yu. Zhao Weiwei's eyes were filled with tears, but she pretended to be strong and called him. You must live. Wait for me. Han Yu's straight back gradually faded away. Uncle Wu made sure that everyone was there and let the helicopter take off. The helicopter slowly lifted off, and the base below became smaller and smaller. Just as the helicopter rose to 500 meters, there was a sudden loud noise. The entire fuselage shook, and a sense of weightlessness hit them instantly. The faces of the people on the helicopter all changed. They grabbed their seat belts and didn't dare to breathe. Jing Ji subconsciously held Shishang's hand. Shishang calmly squeezed his hand. As long as the person flying the helicopter is not a novice, we won't fall. Her voice was not loud, but at this time, it was very clear. Sure enough, the helicopter was quickly pulled up. The pilot's frightened voice came from Uncle Wu's walkie-talkie. I don't know what we hit, but we're fine. Jing Ji remembered that when they were waiting for Uncle Wu, she hugged Yi Ran and circled around the 2 helicopters. He thought she was coaxing the child. Cici, aren't you tired? Jing Ji was helpless. She thought about everything and felt that they were useless. Shishang tilted his head and said with a serious face, abandoning all danger is the first rule of survival. Jing Ji looked at Shishang helplessly. Does she know that sometimes, she can also rely on him? As the helicopter rose, there was a constant banging sound. It was very dark outside, and they couldn't see what was hitting them. Sometimes, the invisible danger made people panic even more. The helicopter swayed in the air. Fortunately, the pilot was a veteran for decades and didn't panic. After confirming that the helicopter was normal, he quickly drove out of the base. The helicopter flew over the heads of countless zombies. The densely packed zombies were like ants, constantly surging forward. Chapter 581. The helicopter returned from Yao Guang Base even more smoothly and safely than when they came. Uncle Wu was still in a daze when he saw the capital base. Nothing had happened along the way. It was amazing. Uncle Wu got off the helicopter and immediately circled it a few times, but he found nothing. It was really strange. There were special people in charge of the researchers. Uncle Wu took Shishang and Jingji to see Old Master Jing. Uncle Wu also informed the Han family to send someone to pick up Zhao Weiwei. Old Master Jing was about 60 years old with a head full of silver hair. Probably because he was in a high position, his face was always tense. Even when he saw his grandson and granddaughter, he only showed a very official smile. The meeting was very short. Uncle Wu had to report to Old Master Jing about the Yao Guang base. A base had fallen, and it was the largest base now. This matter was extremely important. Therefore, Jingji and Shishang were arranged to stay in Old Master Jing's villa. It was already midnight when Old Master Jing came back. Seeing Jingji sitting on the sofa waiting for him, he couldn't help but feel a little surprised. "Xiaoji, why aren't you asleep? We'll talk about it tomorrow. Go and rest first." Jingji looked at Old Master Jing's tired face and nodded slightly. "I'll send Grandpa up." After sending Old Master Jing back to his room, Jingji went downstairs to his room. He hesitated at the door for a moment, then turned and went to the room next door. Shishang was lying with his back facing her. His breathing was steady, and he was probably asleep. Jingji hugged her from behind. Shishang habitually turned over and shrank into Jingji's arms. The corner of Jingji's mouth outlined a gentle arc. He planted a kiss on her forehead and hugged her to sleep. The next day, Shishang woke up first. As soon as she opened her eyes, she saw a magnified handsome face. She looked at this face and was a little stunned. Shishang only blinked when she felt the wet heat on her lips. Jingji closed his eyes slightly and kissed her gently. After the kiss, both of them were a little heavy. "Get up." Jingji first let go of Shishang, got up and walked out of the door. "What do you want to eat?" "I'll get it for you." Jingji's voice stopped abruptly. Outside the door, Old Master Jing stared at him with a bad expression. He glanced into the room. Shishang was sitting on the bed. His face was flushed and his clothes were messy. "Grandpa, follow me to the study." Old Master Jing turned and left. Jingji took a deep breath. He had to tell his grandpa about this sooner or later. "Jingji, do you want me to do it?" Shishang stopped Jingji. Jingji turned around and smiled. "Shishi, let me handle this." Jingji talked with Old Master Jing in the study for more than an hour. Old Master Jing didn't allow them to be together and was furious. He kept Jingji by his side to work. In his spare time, he would introduce girls to Jingji or boys to Shishang. In any case, he did not agree with them being together. Both sides were in a deadlock. Shishang wanted to talk to Old Master Jing, but Jingji stopped her. Old Master Jing was a very stubborn person. It was difficult to change his mind. He was afraid that if she went to talk to Old Master Jing might say something unpleasant and hurt her. Now Shishang wanted to see Jingji. Every day, Jingji would sneak into her room through the window. After Old Master Jing found out, he directly took Jingji to live in the administrative building. He didn't even return to the villa. Shishang went to the administrative building under the hot sun. Looking for young Master Jing? Xiaoshu appeared beside Shishang like a ghost. Xiaoshu and Zhu Feng lived in other places with Yi An and his sister, but Xiaoshu and Zhu Feng still worked for Jingji. Shishang pouted and blew. "Is he here?" Young Master Jing and Old Master Jing went out. Xiaoshu answered and turned to Zhu Feng. "You go up first." Zhu Feng was unhappy. "Why?" "It's hot outside," Xiaoshu said expressionlessly. Zhu Feng suddenly blushed and walked to the administrative building with his head down. After Zhu Feng left, Xiaoshu took Shishang to a cooler place and conveyed Jing Ji's words. Young Master Jing is going to leave the base. He wants you to be prepared. Where are you going? Jing Ji couldn't persuade old Master Jing and was going to escape? Xiaoshu looked at Shishang and suddenly cleared his throat. He imitated Jing Ji's tone. As long as I'm with her, it's the same wherever I go. Shishang, I don't like it here either. It's good to leave. Xiaoshu looked in the direction of the administrative building. The atmosphere in the building made him very uncomfortable. It was better to kill zombies outside. After negotiating with Xiaoshu, Shishang walked back. Young Master Jing is so handsome. His superpower is so powerful. Is young Master Jing gay? Do I have a chance? Come on. With your appearance, even if young Master Jing is gay, he won't like you. At least, he has to be like me. Young Master Jing. Shishang walked along and heard the most about young Master Jing. He didn't come back for long. With his appearance and strength, he was quickly recognized by both men and women. Shishang was thinking about something and unknowingly walked to a street with fewer pedestrians. Shishang looked up and looked at the street sign. When he was about to go back, he suddenly saw a shop. There was nothing in the shop. Most importantly, there were a few familiar figures in the shop. Jing Ji was already very impatient, but old Master Jing and Mu Xian were talking very happily. When he looked up, he suddenly swept a glance at the people standing across the street. His face changed slightly. Grandpa, I'll go back first. Jing Ji didn't wait for old Master Jing's response and strode out of the shop. Old Master Jing was so angry that his beard blew and his eyes glared, but Mu Xian calmed him down with a few words. Jing Ji pulled Shishang to a shady place with fewer people. Shi, why are you here? Jing Ji lovingly helped her tidy her hair. I miss you. Shishang smiled slightly. Don't you miss me? Jing Ji looked around and saw that there was no one around. He lowered his head and kissed her lips, directly expressing his longing for Shishang with his actions. Jing Ji let go of Shishang after a while. We will leave the base after a while. Yes, Xiaoshu told me. The outside world was dangerous, but he could protect her. Jing Ji sent Shishang back. Along the way, they met a lot of people who were curious about the girl Jing Ji was holding. Later, someone said that it was Jing Ji's sister, and the excited crowd calmed down. If it was his sister, they still had a chance. Why is Mu Xian here? Who? Shishang suddenly said. Jing Ji was completely confused. Please remember the name of the female lead. She can only be a villain. The woman in the shop just now. I don't know. He didn't care about other women. Why should he know why she was there? Asterisk Jing Ji. I only have you in my heart, not her. Shishang. Are you crazy? Jing Ji. Confess. Shishang. Where are the flowers? Where is the diamond ring? Where is the candlelight dinner? Jing Ji. Am I not enough here? Shishang. Chapter 582. It had been more than a month since the fall of Yao Guang base. Mu Xian came here with the mercenary team. She directly connected with old Master Jing and opened a shop in the name of the government. Shishang didn't know how she connected with him. Anyway, the female lead always had a few old grandpas who liked her. Because of Jing Ji, old Master Jing was now more and more displeased with her. The amiable old man seemed to have disappeared because of this incident. Old Master Jing put all the blame on Shishang. He often mentioned Mu Xian when he didn't like her. In the end, he even brought Mu Xian back to the villa. Xiao Shi, Mu Xian will live here from now on. You have to get along well with her, okay? Don't think about nonsense all day. As soon as Shishang came downstairs, old Master Jing pointed at Mu Xian who was sitting on his right side. Miss Jing. Mu Xian stood beside old Master Jing and called out obediently. Mu Xian is calling you. Why are you so rude? Old Master Jing began to roar again. He expected better from her. Look at you now. Grandpa Jing, don't be angry. I had some misunderstandings with Miss Jing before. I believe it will be fine after I explain it to Miss Jing. Mu Xian supported old Master Jing and comforted him softly. Shi Shang sat down calmly and looked at Mu Xian. What misunderstandings? Mu Xian thought that Shi Shang would make a scene, but she said it so calmly that Mu Xian was at a loss for words. Let's eat, Mu Xian. Don't mind her. Old Master Jing probably saw Mu Xian's awkwardness, but he still helped Mu Xian. Shi Shang shook his head and began to eat. No one could interfere with her eating. Mu Xian and Old Man Jing were not talking about trivial matters, but rather, they were talking about important national affairs. Old Master Jing obviously liked Mu Xian more and more. During the meal, the two of them chattered non-stop. Shi Shang wished she could smash the bowl in their faces. Can't they just eat in peace? After the meal, Old Master Jing took Mu Xian to see her room before leaving. Before leaving, he didn't forget to warn Shi Shang. Mu Xian's room was next to Jing Ji's, and Shi Shang's room was opposite Jing Ji's. It was obvious Old Master Jing's intention for this arrangement. At night, Old Master Jing brought Jing Ji back. Jing Ji thought that Old Master Jing had figured it out, but his face darkened when he saw a strange woman in the villa. Nothing happened between Mu Xian and Han Yu. At this time, she still liked Jing Ji. Mu Xian could not help but feel nervous when she saw the person she had a crush on. In the end, Jing Ji did not even look at her and went straight upstairs. Shi Shang was waving his sword in the room. Jing Ji went in and was almost cut by the sword. Shi, are you going to murder your husband? Jing Ji leaned against the wall and patted his chest exaggeratedly. Shi Shang sheathed his sword. Why are you back? Jing Ji walked up to the Shi Shang, his eyes filled with tenderness. I miss you. Shi Shang blinked and pouted. Kiss kiss. Jing Ji laughed. His big hand held the back of her head and kissed her. Just as the two of them were deeply in love, someone suddenly knocked on the door. Jing Ji sighed and lay on Shi Shang's body, unwilling to move. Let's get out of here quickly. It doesn't matter to me. Shi Shang shrugged. Jing Ji, get your ass out here. Old Master Jing roared angrily. Jing Ji turned over and got out of bed. He pulled the wrinkled clothes on his body and went to open the door without buttoning the buttons that were torn open by Shi Shang. Old Master Jing saw him like this and was so angry that his face turned green. You are really pissing me off. Grandpa, I said that I only want Shi, regardless of whether you agree or not. Jing Ji's attitude was very tough. She is your sister. Old Master Jing raised his hand to slap Jing Ji, but in the end, he did not. Grandpa, I have done a paternity test. Shi and I are not related by blood. Of course, Jing Ji did not do it. Old Master Jing suddenly became silent. After a while, he said angrily, even if you are not related by blood, you can't be together. What will the outsiders think of our Jing family? Where will I put my old face? You still have me in your eyes, so don't do this kind of thing. And you, Jing Shi, do you want to anger me to death? Old Master Jing pushed the door open and pointed at Shi Shang. Shi Shang did not answer and just pretended that he did not hear anything. This kind of thing was difficult to understand. It was useless for her to explain, so she might as well save her energy. Grandpa, I will not be separated from Shi. You. Old Master Jing covered his chest and gasped for breath. His eyes swept back and forth between Jing Ji and Shi Shang. Finally, he turned around and left with a cold snort. Jing Ji closed the door and looked at Shi Shang. He said slowly, I will arrange it as soon as possible. I will not let you be wronged. I don't feel wronged. Shi Shang hooked his finger at Jing Ji. Jing Ji walked over and Shi Shang hugged his neck. I have to face this kind of thing when I am with you. I am already prepared. Jing Ji held her waist and felt helpless. Yes, she was prepared for everything, but he still felt distressed. He felt distressed that she had to bear everything by herself. The rumors came out suddenly. It seemed that overnight, the whole base knew that old Master Jing's grandson and granddaughter had an improper relationship. In addition, someone saw them holding hands before, which undoubtedly confirmed the rumor. Everyone could not help but look at the Jing family strangely. No matter what era it was, there was no shortage of gossipers. In the end, the rumor became that Shi Shang was shameless and seduced her brother. The target of scolding and despising became Shi Shang. Shi Shang would encounter people looking for trouble on the street, just like now. It's her. She is shameless and seduced her brother. Stop her. Shi Shang's path was blocked, and several girls took turns to scold him. Shi Shang replied calmly, "Why didn't she seduce such a handsome brother?" "Bah, you shameless B***tch. Rabbits don't eat the grass near their burrows. You won't even let your brother go. You are crazy. Rabbits don't eat the grass near their burrows because they will be exposed if they eat the grass near their burrows." The girls were speechless. What kind of saying was that? Why are you talking nonsense with her? Let's teach her a lesson. Let's see if she dares to seduce young Master Jing again. The girls rolled up their sleeves and were ready to teach Shi Shang a lesson. Shi Shang had a bad temper. He took out his iron sword and killed these girls. "It's none of your business who I am with." Shi Shang folded the girls. His tone was calm, but there was a hint of sarcasm in it. "Are you my mother or my ancestors? Obviously, I don't have such a young mother. Since you are not related to me, don't think that you are a righteous messenger who will get rid of evil for the people. Those who meddle in other people's business will die miserably. Be careful." The girls who were folded into a small mountain were speechless. Why did he fold them? "If I were you, I would do whoever I like. If I can't, I would drug her. In this world, you don't have to go to jail." The girls were speechless. What a dangerous way of thinking. Chapter 583. Rumors were everywhere, and the relationship between Jing Ji and Old Master Jing was getting worse and worse. Every time Jing Ji and Old Master Jing had a fight, Mu Xian would be the one to calm them down. It seemed that as long as he saw Mu Xian, Old Master Jing's anger would calm down. Author's Malice X1 Female Leads Healing Aura XN. Under the Female Leads Healing Aura, Old Master Jing actually let Jing Ji and Mu Xian get married. Yes, there was no engagement, they got married directly. Shi Shang could not hold it in anymore and rushed directly to Old Master Jing's study. "Grandpa, you really know how to joke." "I'm not that good." Mu Xian was talking shyly. Seeing Shi Shang rushing in, she quickly lowered her head. "You're getting more and more unruly." Old Master Jing was getting more and more annoyed with Shi Shang and scolded him with a sullen face. Shi Shang looked at Mu Xian and did not speak. Mu Xian mumbled, "Grandpa, I'll go out first." Old Master Jing did not object. Mu Xian quickly got up and left the study. "I didn't say anything because Jing Ji said he could handle this matter." Shi Shang's words were very rude, but now it seems that I have to say something. "You and Jing Ji shouldn't be together." Old Master Jing's face was sullen. "Do you know what the people outside are saying about you two?" He was already so old, and now he was being criticized behind his back. "Jing Ji and I are not related by blood, why can't we be together? You two are siblings. You have lived together for so long. The relationship between you two is kinship, not love." Old Master Jing's attitude was tough. Jing Ji and Mu Xian's marriage has been decided. If you don't want to be kicked out of the house, don't make trouble. After your brother's wedding, I'll find another family for you. Does Jing Ji agree? F***CKU, do you think I'm worthy of being with a retard? It doesn't matter whether he agrees or not. As long as he's my grandson, he has to listen to me. Shi Shang could not help but roll his eyes. If it were not for him, he would have chopped Jing Ji with his sword. Jing Ji said that Old Master Jing was stubborn, and it seemed that he was right. Shi Shang was afraid that he could not hold back his anger and really chopped Old Master Jing's head, so he left the study. Mu Xian stood outside the door with a smile on her face. It was a proud smile. Idiot. Shi Shang strode past her. Mu Xian's smile froze on her face. What did she mean? The next day, Shi Shang and Jing Ji disappeared at the same time. Old Master Jing sent people to search the entire base, but they couldn't find them. Xia Shu and the others also disappeared. The records of the base did not contain any information about them entering or leaving the base. It was as if they had disappeared into thin air. Shi Shang took them away by air. Of course, these people didn't know that. Cici, thank you. For what? Shi Shang looked at Jing Ji as if he was an idiot. You didn't do anything to Grandpa. She had a bad temper, but this time, she endured it and didn't do anything. Don't flatter yourself. It has nothing to do with you. Shi Shang couldn't help rolling her eyes. She was telling the truth. She had her own reasons for not doing anything, and it definitely had nothing to do with Jing Ji. She even dared to chop the Emperor eye. Would she care if old Master Jing was Jing Ji's grandfather? Jing Ji was depressed. Can't you just coax me? No, there's no point in lying to you. Jing Ji. So honest, but he liked it. After leaving the base, Jing Ji found the people from before. They had built a small base. Because they had enough weapons, they had stockpiled a lot of food. Shi Shang calculated the time and asked them to prepare for the winter. They had heard about it from Shi Shang before, so they were not surprised by the request and started to prepare. When they were almost ready, the hot weather suddenly cooled down, and snow fell without warning. There were not many people in their base, but they had enough food. There was no problem for them to survive the 5 months of winter. After the winter, various natural disasters continued to happen. Zombies and mutated animals became more and more ferocious, and the living environment for humans became worse and worse. The situation in the capital base was not very good, but it was lucky to have the female lead as a pillar to support it. Since the winter, the female lead's supermarket was exposed. But with old Master Jing's suppression, no one dared to have any ideas about Mu Xian. However, many people relied on the female lead. Many people were unwilling to go out again. Since there was such a good supermarket, why would they go out to die? The female lead was unwilling to use the supermarket to help the people. Those who opposed old Master Jing immediately spread rumors about the female lead, saying that she wanted to control the entire base. In any case, it was a conspiracy theory, forcing her to take out the supermarket. As the weather became colder and colder, a large number of people in the base died. As the decision-maker, old Master Jing naturally could not watch a large number of people die. So when the people on the other side prepared to put the female lead under house arrest, they did not raise any objections. The female lead probably did not expect such an ending. She was alone and weak, and had lost the initiative from the beginning. If she did not want to get close to old Master Jing to get close to Jing Ji, she would not have shown her cards so quickly. After the winter, old Master Jing suddenly fell ill. His illness was so severe that he was sent to the hospital with a notice of critical illness. When Jing Ji received the news, old Master Jing had already passed away. As his grandson, Jing Ji still brought Shi Shang back to the capital base. Why are there so many zombies? Zhu Feng looked at the zombies that surrounded the capital base in front of them with a face full of surprise. The news that came back before did not say that there were zombies surrounding the city. Shi Shang leaned on the car seat. His eyes fell on the group of zombies in the distance. In the next second, he turned his head abruptly to look behind the car. His movement was too big, and Jing Ji looked over with concern. Cici, what's wrong? Shi Shang frowned. Nothing. Was it an illusion? She just felt that something was watching them, just like when they were in the small village. These zombies seemed to be organized. The analysis Emperor Xia Shu came online. The zombies at the back are almost motionless. The zombies at the front are leading the charge, and the ordinary zombies are responsible for climbing the city wall. Xia Shu scanned through the group of zombies with his binoculars and finally stopped at a certain spot. Young Master Jing, look at that zombie. Jing Ji held the binoculars and looked in the direction Xia Shu pointed. In the middle of the group of zombies, there was a handsome young man sitting on a temporary mound. He wore a tuxedo and was as elegant as a royal aristocrat from the Middle Ages. It's a zombie emperor. Shi Shang held his chin and casually explained the setting. It regains the appearance and memory of a human. But compared to a superpowered person, a zombie emperor is a new human who has successfully evolved. It has a longer life and stronger strength. This zombie emperor appeared too early. They were already very calm when Shi Shang casually mentioned all kinds of new terms and various kinds of scientific knowledge. Does that human have a way to survive? Zhu Feng murmured. Little fairy. Do you have tickets today? Cherub. Do you want tickets? Little fairy. Yes. Nodding wildly, Cherub. Praise us. Little fairy. Graceful and elegant, light and unrestrained. Tasting the peerless beauty, and relying on the charm of a city. Cherub. I'll give you one more chance. Little fairy. You guys are so beautiful. Chapter 584. The capital base was in chaos. When old Master Jing was around, no one dared to make a move. But now that old Master Jing was not around, everyone wanted to dominate the base. Now that the zombies were attacking the city, these people were still arguing. In the end, when the zombies were about to attack, they stopped arguing and hurriedly sent reinforcements to the city wall. Ordinary zombies did not have high combat power, but there were too many of them. With the zombies piling up, they climbed up the city wall. The scene was tragic and shocking. Superpowered zombies were much more powerful than their superpowered users. We can't hold it anymore. A soldier was almost crying as he retreated. Someone behind him held his shoulder and said firmly, "We have to hold it even if we can't. Our loved ones are behind us." Yes. The soldier mustered up his courage and rushed towards the zombies with his weapon. Fresh blood and zombie blood blurred the soldier's vision. He could only rely on his instinct to activate his superpower and kill the zombies. His comrades fell one by one. The city wall was almost filled with zombies. Just when he was in despair, there was a violent explosion in front of him. Countless zombies were blown up into the sky. Dust filled the air like fog. "There's someone in the sky." The person next to the soldier suddenly shouted and pointed at the dark sky. The soldier looked up and saw a huge iron sword floating in the air. He could vaguely see someone standing on it. Someone was coming. Was it a god? Poochie. Before the soldier could smile, he suddenly froze. He slowly looked down and saw a rotten hand slowly pulling out from his abdomen. The next second, he felt a pain in his neck and completely lost consciousness. In the air, Shi Shang looked at Zhu Feng throwing bombs and commented casually, "This thing is useless. The area is too small and it can easily create dust." These bombs were taken back from the military base. Xia Shu kept some in her storage space. Zhu Feng was throwing these bombs now. "It's easy for you to say that." Zhu Feng was still throwing the bombs quickly. The sound of explosions continued below. It was already good enough to kill so many zombies. Those superpowered zombies definitely could not be killed by the bombs. Shi Shang silently took out an energy ball. "Watch me show off." Zhu Feng. "Let me tell you, acting cool will get you struck by lightning." Shi Shang tossed the energy ball towards the area with the most zombies. With just one ball, the zombies were blasted to smithereens. The surrounding zombies fell into the pit and were struck by the lightning. Although they weren't blasted to smithereens, they were still unable to move. Pure natural and pollution-free. Shi Shang had given them this kind of energy ball before, but they didn't have the chance to use it. Later on, Shi Shang took it back. Now that he thought about it, they were lucky that they didn't blow up this thing back then. With such a dangerous thing on their bodies, they were afraid. When Shi Shang's energy ball hit the ground, the zombies seemed to have received some kind of command and started to retreat. A large wave of zombies retreated like a tide and soon disappeared from everyone's sight. The zombies retreated. The survivors didn't react for a long time. Shi Shang stared at the direction where the zombies had disappeared for a while, and then controlled the iron sword to land in the base thoughtfully. This looks like young Master Jing? Jing Ji was such a handsome person, and he was also old Master Jing's grandson. Of course, he left a deep impression on people. A group of people discussed in a low voice. Some of them were glad that they had survived the disaster, some were grateful to Jing Ji, and naturally, some were against the improper relationship between Jing Ji and Shi Shang. Young Master Jing and Miss Jing look like a good match. It's so pleasing to the eyes when they stand together. Seeing such a good-looking person after seeing zombies all day is like eating a big plate of meat. They actually came back. I really don't understand. Both of them are so good-looking. Why would they be together? If it weren't for them, we would be dead now. It's okay even if young Master Jing and Miss Jing are together. Who knows how long we can live? I didn't expect young Master Jing to save our lives in the end. Blah blah blah. Miss Jing. Han Yu walked out from the crowd. His body was covered in someone's blood, and he looked quite embarrassed. Thank you for just now. Han Yu knew who was in charge. Jing Ji listened to Jing Shi, so it was better to talk to Jing Shi directly than to talk to Jing Ji. Shi Shang said with an honest face, I was just showing off in front of Zhu Feng, who knew that the group of retarded zombies suddenly retreated. Han Yu, Zhu Feng. Why did you have to show off in front of me? I didn't want to see it. My heart was hurt. Xia Shu patted Zhu Feng's shoulder comfortingly. Let's go first. Han Yu was indeed the male lead. He could calmly answer in such an awkward situation. When Han Yu came back, old Master Jing was seriously ill. Because Shi Shang brought Zhao Wei back, Han Yu kept his promise. During old Master Jing's illness, the Han family's team stood by old Master Jing's side. After old Master Jing passed away, the Han family benefited from the disaster and had more say in the base than before. He stood up and took her away first, and the others couldn't say anything. Miss Jing returned to the base this time? Han Yu drove personally. His attitude was just right. It didn't make people feel uncomfortable and didn't lose his identity. Attending the funeral. Han Yu instantly understood and didn't ask anymore. Zhao Fu sent the group to a cemetery in the base. This used to be a cemetery, but after the base was built, it was not renovated. Some of the people who died in battle would be buried here. Because there was not enough space, there were tombstones everywhere, making it look very messy. Old Master Jing naturally occupied a piece of land, and his tombstone was much better than others. Han Yu was waiting for them outside the cemetery. During this period, people kept coming to him. When Shi Shang and the others came out, Han Yu had already dealt with several things. Xia Shu spoke on behalf of the group. Mr. Han, thank you for bringing us here. You can go ahead if you have something to do. Young Master Jing wants to go back to the villa to take a look. Han Yu frowned slightly. He wanted to say something but stopped. The villa. Shi Shang looked at Han Yu. He lowered his head, and the emotions in his eyes couldn't be seen clearly. After a while he said, I'll send you there. When they arrived at the villa, Shi Shang knew why Han Yu was like that. The villa was heavily guarded. There was a guard every 3 steps and a guard every 5 steps. Even a fly couldn't fly in. Han Yu had a special pass, and Jing Ji was old Master Jing's grandson. These people didn't dare to stop them and could only let them in. However, there were armed guards who followed them into the villa. The villa's hall was very messy. There were all kinds of things in a mess. The things that old Master Jing liked when he was alive were thrown on the ground. There were also some things that belonged to Jing Shi that were even worse. Why is the security here so strict? Xia Shu frowned and asked Han Yu. Old Master Jing had passed away. Why was his villa so heavily guarded? Shi Shang had already guessed it, but Xia Shu and Zhu Feng couldn't, so they were very puzzled and puzzled. Asterisk, please vote. Good night, yes. Not today. Chapter 585. Han Yu looked at the direction of the stairs. At the corner, a piece of cloth was looming. Jingji picked up a few things from the ground with a cold face. A good-looking person would look good even if he was picking up trash. Shang pulled out a box from the side and gave it to him. Jingji smiled slightly and put the things in the box. The others didn't say a word. Jingji was very angry at this time. Others may not see it, but those who followed Jingji knew it. After Jingji put away all the things, he held the box with one hand and Shang with the other hand and went out. Jingji! Someone ran down the stairs with a hoarse voice. Jingji didn't stop and continued to walk out. Mu Xian wanted to chase after him but was stopped by the guards at the door. Jingji! Mu Xian screamed heartbreakingly. Why couldn't he see her? She liked him so much, but why did he only see Jingxi? Why? They were brother and sister. Hanyu shook his head slightly. He used to admire this girl. Bold and careful. But after what happened in Yao Guang Base, he didn't have any good feelings for Mu Xian. Zhao Weiwei was very important to him. Although he didn't agree with those people, he had people he wanted to protect. He couldn't give up his family and children for her. Shang and the others didn't stay in the capital base and chose to leave directly. The zombie emperor didn't attack the capital base either. At first, those people were quite worried and vigilant. But after a long time, the zombie emperor didn't appear again. 2 years later, the capital base developed the antidote and the apocalypse crisis was resolved. As long as the organs were intact, zombies could recover their human form. If the organs were not intact, there was no way to recover their human form. Although the apocalypse was over, the distorted humanity didn't disappear. The world was still in ruins. It was said that Mu Xian had been imprisoned. Later, a mad scientist wanted to study Mu Xian and secretly conducted various experiments on her. When Mu Xian was rescued, she was already unconscious. No one could understand what she was mumbling. But she was still useful. Mu Xian was stimulated once and ran away. On the way, she was accidentally killed. In the base. This was the first spring festival after the apocalypse. Everyone seemed to be very happy. Shang and Jingji walked hand in hand on the street. The sound of laughter drifted from afar. At this time, everyone went to the square to watch the New Year's gala, so the streets were empty. CC. Shang tilted her head, and a firework bloomed in her eyes like ripples. Jingji's heart tightened slightly. After a while, he leaned over and kissed her forehead. Happy New Year. She was by his side, and that was enough. Happy New Year, Shang murmured softly. The entire alley was silent. Something seemed to be stirring in the darkness. Shang's gaze fell on the darkness of the street. Auntie, Auntie. A chubby child suddenly appeared from the corner and ran towards the Shang. Auntie. Xiaoran, slow down. Yian chased after Yiran, afraid that she would fall. Yiran had already run to the Shang's side. She opened her hands and pouted. Auntie, I want a hug. You're too fat. Shang looked disgusted and glanced in the direction where Yiran came from. Yiran pouted her mouth and pretended to cry. Shang picked her up with a headache. Yiran immediately hugged Shang's neck and bit Shang's face. Shang's face was smeared with saliva. I'll throw you down if you continue like this. Shang wiped his face with a dark face. It was full of saliva. Yiran pouted. Auntie doesn't like Ran anymore. I didn't like you in the first place. Shang glared. He hated naughty children the most. Then why did you hug Ran? Yiran asked seriously. Brother said that you only hugged Ran because you like Ran. Auntie, you lied. Shang said with an honest face. Because you wanted to cry. Yiran blinked her big, watery eyes. Her face was filled with confusion. Then, without knowing how her brain worked, tears started to fall from her eyes. As soon as her tears fell, Shang felt that he was not hugging a child, but a mountain. He wanted to throw her away immediately. How many times have I taught you the formula? Why can't you control your spiritual power? Shang roared. I just can't remember it. Yi Ran felt wronged. The formula is so long, and I'm still so young. Shi Shang was speechless. If you were in another world, you would have been beaten to death. Auntie, don't be angry. You can teach Ran Ran again. Ran Ran will learn seriously. Yi Ran hugged Shi Shang's neck with tears in her eyes and said flatteringly. Jing Ji was alarmed. He picked Yi Ran up and threw her into Yi An's arms. Then, he pulled Shi Shang away. Yi Ran always liked to use the formula to pester Shi Shang. He suspected that she knew it at all. Yi Ran hugged Yi An's neck and hung her small body on him. Her face was no longer full of grievances. She scolded Yi An like a little old man. Brother, why are you so stupid? Auntie was taken away again. Yi An was speechless. What does it have to do with me? Stupid brother. Okay. Brother is stupid. Let's go to the square. They have started to set off fireworks. Didn't you want to play before? Yi Ran's eyes lit up. She nodded obediently. Okay, let's go. Shi Shang and Jing Ji spent the rest of their lives guarding this base that was like a paradise. Shi Shang stayed in this world for a long time. She only returned to the system space after Jing Ji left. The system space was as quiet as ever, but it was a little different from before. Shi Shang walked to the screen. The system immediately refreshed his information. Name, Shi Shang moral points, 255000 health points, 25 points, 30,000, 3,000 points deducted from the repair of the previous world. 3,000 points rewarded from the mission. No change in points. Mission level, a mission score, 86 hidden mission, completed hidden mission reward, 2,000 points item column, Queen's Crown, Ghost King's Heart, Dark Knight this time, only 5,000 points were deducted from her moral points. It was amazing. Shi Shang's fingers swiped on the screen for a long time. The system was not free to speak now, so he did not dare to speak casually. Shi Shang swiped for a long time and suddenly sat down. Host. You don't want to continue the mission? Oh. Rest. You still need to rest? I thought you were a robot. You don't know what rest is. Shi Shang sat cross-legged, holding his chin. His eyes were drifting. No one knew what he was thinking. The system did not know how long it had been. Only then did it hear Shi Shang's voice. Enter the next world. Transmission begins. Asterisk small theater system. Why am I so aggrieved? System A. Because you are stupid. System B. Because you are stupid. System. You guys go. System owner. You are really stupid. System. I want to run away from home. Just like that. Chapter 586. My name is Yi Ran, and my brother is Yi An. Since I was very young, I knew that I was abandoned by my parents. Well, the person who told me was my aunt. Some people say that my aunt is cold-blooded for telling me such a cruel thing, but I don't think so. My aunt is the kind of person who speaks her mind. She won't lie to you just because she sympathizes with you. My brother said that I should call her sister, but I always call her aunt. I don't understand why my brother wants me to call her sister. I didn't change it, and they didn't let me change it. My aunt has a bad temper. When I was young, she threw me away and left me alone in the wilderness. It was Brother Zhu Feng who found me later. But I still like my aunt very much. I don't know why, but I feel that her breath is very comfortable and I want to be close to her. But every time I get close to my aunt, Jing Ji will come out and snatch her away from me. Jing Ji is my aunt's brother. Well, he is also her boyfriend. But I don't like him. Without him, my aunt will only love me. Wherever he is, my aunt will dislike me. She will give him all the good things and spoil him to the heavens. At that time, I didn't understand why other people are the ones who spoil the girls, but when it comes to my aunt, she is the one who spoils Jing Ji. Well, Jing Ji also spoils my aunt. But compared to my aunt's overbearing behavior, Jing Ji is more like a silent drizzle. He always knows when my aunt will lose her temper and appeases her in advance. He knows what she wants to do with her every move and look. It wasn't until I grew up that I understood that this kind of relationship is called telepathy. But at that time, I didn't understand. I always caused trouble for my aunt and Jingji. I followed them wherever they went. Those days lasted for a long time. There are two things that I remember deeply. The first was when I was 14. A 14-year-old girl is always rebellious. I told my aunt that I might like my brother because my brother is very good to me, so I am very dependent on him. After hearing the story between my aunt and Jingji, I don't know what I was thinking at that time, but I felt that I liked my brother. My aunt didn't have any reaction after hearing it, but my brother did. He accidentally heard my conversation with my aunt. Later, I suspected that my aunt knew my brother was there, but she didn't stop me. Ever since my brother heard what I said, he quickly found a girlfriend. She was a very beautiful girl. She spoke gently. I had seen her a few times before, but I didn't pay much attention to her. Now that I saw her with my brother, I was very sad. Then my aunt caught me playing a trick on the girl. She carried me up the mountain like a little chick. When the cold wind blew, I became much more awake. "Auntie." I stood behind her and called her pitifully. "Do you know what liking is?" she asked me. "If I like you, then I like you." I remember that was my answer at the time. Then, I saw her smile. It was a faint smile, but it was unforgettable. It was deeply engraved in my mind. I heard her mutter softly, "Yeah, like is like." "Aunt." She lowered her head to look at me, and I could see my reflection in her calm eyes. She said, "If you dare to sleep with your brother tonight, then you like your brother. But if you don't dare, then don't treat kinship as love." I think my expression at that time was something like this: "Oh, what is Auntie talking about? She actually instigated me to sleep with my brother? My brother would beat me to death if he knew." But at night, I still sneaked over. When I reached the door, I didn't dare to do it. I kept rehearsing in my head. I couldn't accept my brother and me. Look, she always solved problems so simply and crudely. She didn't know what being tactful was, but I still liked her. Then, I went to apologize to my brother. I said that I was just joking with Auntie. I liked him, but not that kind of like. My brother heaved a sigh of relief after hearing that. But he was still with that girl. They had known each other for a while. My sudden words gave my brother the opportunity to confess. The second thing happened when I was 17 years old. During that time, Auntie actually spent a lot of time with me. But most of the time, she was urging me to cultivate. She said that if I didn't work hard, I would be the one to die. I was different from others. I could cultivate. Brother Xiaoshu said that in this world, those who could cultivate were the lucky ones blessed by the heavens. Auntie exposed Brother Xiaoshu on the spot. She said that Brother Xiaoshu was talking nonsense. She was the one who fed me the xianling fruit so that I could cultivate. I didn't know what the xianling fruit was, but every once in a while, Auntie would give me a kind of fruit. That kind of fruit didn't look good. It was also very sour and didn't taste good. The good thing was that every time I ate it, I would feel the spiritual power in my body become more abundant. I actually didn't want to cultivate. But in order to make Auntie happy, and to monopolize Auntie with Jingji, I still cultivated very seriously. I always knew that Auntie was very capable. But on the day of my tribulation, I realized that Auntie's ability was much greater than I imagined. That was probably the day I remembered most clearly in my life. There were still 3 days before my 18th birthday. But that evening, when I was meditating, the spiritual power in my body suddenly went out of control. Before I could figure out what was going on, I heard the rumbling of thunder. The thunder seemed to be right next to my ears. It was very clear. I didn't feel like I was sitting in a safe house. Instead, I felt like I was sitting under countless flashes of lightning. Later, I heard people say that the scene at that time was indeed like that. The place I was in was filled with dense lightning, flashing like snakes in the sky. When the lightning struck, I heard Auntie's voice. It was as simple and indifferent as ever. "If you can't endure it, you'll die." It wasn't the first time she said this to me. Before, I couldn't understand the power of this sentence. But now, I understood. If I couldn't endure it, I would really die. But I didn't want to die. I wanted to live. I didn't even know what kind of willpower I relied on in the end to succeed in forming my gold core. But Auntie told me that forming my gold core had just begun. What I would experience later would be thousands of times more dangerous than now. If I wasn't prepared, it would stop here and there would be no need to go forward. Auntie, do you cultivate? I asked her. I had never seen Auntie cultivate, but I felt that she was very powerful. Auntie held Jing Ji's hand. The smile on her face was very faint, and ripples gradually appeared in her eyes. The lifespan of a cultivator is very long. I don't want to live that long. I just want to live until his life ends. Somehow, this sentence seemed to be branded in the depths of my mind. Many years later, I've heard countless words of love and had intimate lovers, but I still feel that Auntie's words were the most affectionate. I just want to live until his life ends. Yi Ran. Chapter 587. Xia Shu was born in a scholarly family. It was said that his ancestors were immortal cultivators and some of them had successfully ascended. His father was a soldier and did not believe in these things. Later, he died on the battlefield. Therefore, his grandfather designated him as the successor of the family's culture. For as long as he could remember, he had been reading books that he could not understand at all. His grandfather could not fully understand the things in the books, so it was even more difficult for him to pass it on. In the end, he only learned some written theories. Later, when the apocalypse came, his grandfather was killed by his zombified mother. He stepped into the dangerous and unknown apocalypse alone. He was afraid at the beginning, but he gradually accepted it. He was calm and could easily chop off the heads of zombies. Later, he met Jing Ji and Zhu Feng. At that time, the two of them were chased by a group of zombies. They were only 2 people, but they easily got rid of those zombies. The strong are always respected, so Xia Shu chose to join them. At first, he thought Zhu Feng was a very steady person. After all, he looked like the kind of person who gave people a sense of security. However, after getting along with them, he realized that Zhu Feng was a retard. But he did not know why he felt that he was a little silly and cute. Every time he saw him suffer, his mood would be better. Xia Shu did not know that he had a problem with his sexual orientation at first. He found out about his sexual orientation when he was in high school. At that time, high school was the kind of dormitory. The boy lived under his bunk and had a good relationship with him. One night, it was raining heavily. His bunk was facing the window, but the window was broken and could not be closed at all. The rain and cold wind kept pouring in, so he could not sleep at all. He asked the dormitory manager to fix it, but the dormitory manager said it was too late. He asked him to squeeze with other people and get someone to fix it tomorrow. Naturally, he chose the boy who had a good relationship with him. The single bed was not wide. When the 2 boys squeezed together, there was almost no room for them to turn over. It was inevitable that their bodies would touch. Xia Shu felt that someone was touching him in a daze. He did not know if it was because he was exposed to the cold wind on the upper bunk. His head was groggy and his eyelids were so heavy that he could not open them at all. But he heard someone panting in his ear, and the warm breath hit his cheek. Someone was touching his body, along his chest and all the way down. Xia Shu could not remember what happened after that. When he woke up the next day, other than feeling a little weak, there was nothing wrong with him. He suspected that he was muddle-headed from his illness and did not dare to tell the boy. But since that day, the boy treated him better. The 2 of them became closer and closer. They would go out to play and study together. In the eyes of others, they were close friends. But in the next semester, the boy transferred to another school, for reasons unknown to him, and he finally received a belated confession letter from the boy from a distant city. It was also at that time that he suddenly realized that his sexual orientation might be a little different. At that time, he was also confused. He looked up some information about this on the internet. At that time, the acceptance of homosexuality in the country was very low. Generally, this kind of situation would be considered to be sick. Sometimes, he would think of that boy, and the vague impression in his heart would gradually become clearer. Later on, he tried to contact that boy, but the letters he sent out were like stones thrown into the sea. There was no response. That was probably his first love that had died without a cause. He finished high school in a daze and entered university. There were fewer girls in the university he studied in, so there were more homosexuals there. At that time, people's views on homosexuality were slowly changing. There were also people who pursued him, but he had no feelings for those people and rejected them all. He remembered that when he was in university, there were people who said that he was an abstinent Prince Charming. Later on, when he met Jing Ji, he realized that he was nothing in front of Jing Ji. At first, he didn't like Zhu Feng very much. After all, he was too stupid. But later on, he realized that stupidity also had its benefits. At least in the apocalypse, he could still live happily. When he was with Zhu Feng, he always felt that he was not in the apocalypse. Especially when Jingxi returned to the team, this idiot pulled him every day and talked about how Jingxi was and whether Jingxi would be deceived. Xia Shu wanted to slap him to death at that time. Jingxi was such a smart person. How could he be deceived? Only a retard like him would be deceived. When they were in Ping County, Jingxi and Jingxi woke him up to keep watch. Xia Shu saw Zhu Feng rolling to the side of the garbage heap and wanted to move him away. Who knew that this idiot would suddenly wake up? Xia Shu had to stand up and was ready to leave as if nothing had happened. Zhu Feng also stood up with him. He didn't know what he stepped on, but his body suddenly pounced on him. His teeth knocked against Xia Shu's lips, and he immediately tasted blood. The romantic kiss that he saw on TV was complete nonsense. Zhu Feng stared at him with his lips still attached to him. His brain was probably in a daze as he stuck out his tongue and licked him. Xia Shu felt that if he didn't do it, he would be a beast. So, he kissed Zhu Feng forcefully. After that, he even injured his mouth to make Zhu Feng successfully forget that he kissed him forcefully and feel guilty. Later on, Zhu Feng said that he was scheming. He smiled and told him, "If I wasn't scheming, would you be with me obediently now?" Since that time, Zhu Feng became more and more awkward. He looked at Xia Shu with a complicated gaze. When they were in Yao Guang base, Xia Shu could only share a room with Zhu Feng because of the room problem. What's more, there was only one bed in the room. At that time, the weather was very hot. After he entered the room, he didn't wear any clothes and only wore a pair of underpants. That idiot opened the door and came in. Seeing that he was only wearing underpants, he actually left. At night, he dawdled for a long time before coming in. "Well, you sleep on the bed. I'll sleep on the floor. Haha, it's cool." Xia Shu lay on the bed and didn't say anything, waiting for that idiot to climb up himself. At that time, the floor was even hotter than the bed. It would be strange if he could sleep. Sure enough, after a few minutes, Zhu Feng climbed up from the floor. He was probably checking if he was asleep. After a while, he felt that the other side was heavier. He didn't plan to do anything to him. After all, other than being a little ambiguous, they hadn't made their relationship clear. However, Zhu Feng didn't sleep well. His hands and feet were moving all over the place. He was already hot. After being teased by Zhu Feng, he felt even hotter. Xia Shu tried to endure it, but Zhu Feng was really noisy. So, he couldn't bear it anymore. Zhu Feng was still in a daze after being woken up by him. When Xia Shu was about to enter, Zhu Feng finally reacted. He suddenly yelled, "I treat you as a brother, but you want to sleep with me. I've wanted to sleep with you for a long time." Xia Shu pressed his hand and whispered in his ear to distract him. Zhu Feng was in great pain. He could only slow down. Amidst Zhu Feng's scolding, he completely invaded his body and invaded his mind and body. Zhu Feng accepted Xia Shu faster than he thought. He thought that he would have to sleep with him a few more times. In the end, he automatically accepted his fate the next day. "I'm doing everything I can to get you, Xia Shu." Chapter 588. Everyone knew that the bankrupt CEO Lu Shanggu was sick. Asterisk, evil bitch, catch her, don't let her run away. Refund. Refund, evil bitch, give us back our hard-earned money. Shi Shang was pushed and pulled by people. She was in so much pain that she came back to her senses. There were many people in front of her, all of them angrily pulling at her. Some of them were pinching and squeezing her arms. Some of them were pinching her waist and chest. Not only were they pinching her, they were even twisting her waist. It was so painful that she almost cried out. F***ck. This scene was really too much. Where's I's sword? Before Shi Shang could take out his sword, a group of people came from the side, separated the troublemakers, and carried Shi Shang to the building next door. These people carried Shi Shang into the elevator, then into an office, leaving only a girl behind. The girl looked at Shi Shang worriedly. CEO Lu, are you okay? Do you need me to call a doctor? Shi Shang calmly waved her hand. You go out first. CEO Lu. Shi Shang looked at her coldly, and the girl immediately lowered her head. Yes. Shi Shang saw that there was a restroom nearby. She propped herself up, locked the door, and sat down. She took 2 deep breaths and took out her tablet. Receive plot. Prepare to teleport. No, I don't want to teleport, really. This was a male urban stallion novel. Yi Feng, a poor college student. Because of his good looks, he got a girlfriend who was the campus belle. However, this girlfriend was very materialistic. After knowing that Yi Feng was poor, she immediately dumped him. Yi Feng went to the river to drink when he was heartbroken, but he accidentally fell into the river. After he was rescued, he woke up and found that there was an app called Rich Man Self-Cultivation on his phone. Yi Feng found that the mission given by the app was to make him spend money, and the virtual currency in the app could be exchanged with his real currency. He needed to complete the missions given by the app, then earn points to level up. All he needed to do was to keep spending money. Since then, Yi Feng started his life as a loser. Rich second generation. Carry my shoes. Rich second generation. It's my little brother. Beautiful CEOs, A-list celebrities, innocent junior sisters, enchanting assassins, and neighborhood girls all fell into his arms. In the end, Yi Feng had a harem, which was more awesome than *************. A proper stallion novel. If they didn't agree, they would have sex. The original owner, Lu Shanggu, was the only daughter of the Lu family. Her parents died early and she was 24 years old. She was groomed to be the CEO since she was young. She inherited the family business at the age of 20. In 4 years, her net worth rose from 0 to 9 digits. Lu Shanggu was naturally that beautiful CEO. However, this girl wanted to find someone who treated her wholeheartedly. Yi Feng did treat her wholeheartedly in the beginning, but as he met more and more women, Yi Feng couldn't help but become unfaithful. He was having an affair with a woman without telling Lu Shanggu and was caught by Lu Shanggu. Yi Feng's woman actually persuaded Lu Shanggu. They said that Yi Feng was such a good man that they didn't mind sharing him. They were even willing to let Lu Shanggu grow up. Lu Shanggu was a man of his word. He was a man of his word. When he encountered such a situation, he immediately gave the girl who came looking for him a slap. That girl couldn't help but complain to Yi Feng. At that time, Yi Feng and the girl were having an intimate time. After being provoked by the girl, Yi Feng went to reason with Lu Shanggu. The two of them had a big fight. Yi Feng expressed that he was very disappointed with Lu Shanggu. Yi Feng felt that other women could accept it, but Lu Shanggu couldn't. After being provoked by the women around Yi Feng's interest in Lu Shanggu stopped at her body. Lu Shanggu didn't give it to Yi Feng. Yi Feng couldn't forget about it. At this time, the software gave him a mission to acquire the Lu family business. How could Yi Feng refuse to kill 2 birds with 1 stone? He bought the shares of the Lu family business and became a shareholder. He nibbled away the company's shares step by step and became the biggest shareholder of the Lu family business. He turned Lu Shanggu's efforts into bubbles with 1 sentence. Yi Feng pushed the Lu family business to the brink of bankruptcy. He wanted to tell Lu Shangge, "You see, I can easily bankrupt your company, and you don't even like someone as powerful as me." Lu Shangge could only blame herself for being blind. She was preparing to make a comeback when she went abroad, but she was kidnapped. The person who kidnapped her was none other than one of Yi Feng's women, the girl next door, Dong Wan. This woman was crazy. She liked Yi Feng and felt that it was a sin for others not to like Yi Feng. Therefore, Lu Shangge not liking Yi Feng was an unforgivable sin in Dong Wan's eyes. She tortured Lu Shangge to death. After doing this, Dong Wan cruelly made all kinds of scars on her body. She said that Lu Shangge was crazy and wanted to kill her. She had no choice but to kill her. After Yi Feng knew about this, he didn't call the police. Instead, he helped Dong Wan dispose of the body. Lu Shangge had no parents and no siblings. Her company went bankrupt. Even if she died, people would only think that she couldn't take the blow and committed suicide. Lu Shangge hated it. Her last wish was simple. It could be summed up in one word: revenge. This plot. There were too many things to complain about. He didn't want to complain at all. There was a mirror in the lounge. Shi Shang stood up and walked in front of the mirror. The woman in the mirror was blushing. Her facial features were delicate, with a bit of the fierceness of a strong woman. She was the type of mature sister. Shi Shang touched her body up and down, especially her chest. She touched it twice. This was definitely the best body proportion she had experienced in so many worlds. With this body, it was no wonder that the male lead couldn't forget about it. However, it hurt. Those idiots pinched and pinched just now. F***CK, they didn't pay. The current timeline was very bad. Yi Feng had already bought over the Lu family company and was causing the company to collapse. The Lu family company's newly developed building had an earthquake in the neighboring city a week ago. The aftershocks had also caused these two buildings to collapse. The people who came to cause trouble were all homeowners who had bought a house. Other people's houses didn't collapse, but yours did. Wasn't this a problem? There was indeed a problem with this house. The people below had cut corners. The money that was allocated was only taken by you. The quality of the house was not up to standard at all. After the incident, the relevant people ran away with the money. The ones who were caught were just a few small fries. Now, the homeowner was asking for a refund. As the company's public CEO, Lu Shangge was naturally the first to be attacked. Moreover, her looks had attracted a wave of hatred from housewives. Little fairy. You guys asked for the male lead novel. Cherub. This plot. Are you sure the author of this plot is normal? Little fairy. I'm the author. Do you think I'm normal? Cherub. This is revenge. Little fairy. Since you guys don't like me, then all of you can die with me. Shi Shang. Isn't this my patent? Little fairy. Do you care if others like you or not? Shi Shang. I don't care. But I can die with you. Cherub. Can I request to change the female lead? Shi Shang. What are you guys talking about? Cherub. Nothing. Let's vote. Chapter 589. Shi Shang stayed in the restroom for a while. He took out the original owner's clothes and changed into a new one before opening the door and going out. Fortunately, these people did not pinch her face, or she would fight them to the death. Shi Shang exhaled and sat back on the CEO's chair. This incident had nothing to do with Yi Feng, but Yi Feng must have fanned the flames. So the best way to solve this problem now was to find the culprit. She was not worried about the money. She could earn it back in minutes. Yi Feng's mission seemed to be to buy all of the Lu Corporation. Before the acquisition was completed, the Lu Corporation could not go bankrupt. Shi Shang narrowed his eyes. The host must be up to no good. Shi Shang called in the girl from before. The girl was called Han Xiao. She was the original owner's subordinate, so she could be trusted. President Lu? Han Xiao's voice was full of worry. What happened just now? Was President Lu okay? Check the company's accounts for this period of time. Shi Shang typed on the keyboard and ordered, "Don't let anyone else know." Han Xiao was stunned, but she did not ask any questions out of habit. As the CEO's secretary, Han Xiao had a lot of authority. But it was not easy to check the company's accounts quietly. After work, Shi Shang went downstairs with his hands on his waist. The employees he met on the way all had strange expressions on their faces. Shi Shang went to the basement to get his car, but he saw a boy in front of his car. He was dressed casually and looked handsome. His peach blossom eyes were full of affection, as if everyone was his lover. Yi Feng. The male lead appeared. He leaned against the car next to her, obviously waiting for her. Yi Feng saw her coming and immediately stood up straight. He made a pose that he thought was dashing. "Shanga." Shi Shang walked over calmly. "No." Yi Feng was stunned. Lu Shanga, who only knew how to work all day, actually knew how to use internet slang. Shi Shang opened the door. When the door was about to close, a hand suddenly grabbed the door. Shi Shang increased his strength and the door closed in her direction. Yi Feng let go of his hand in surprise. He slammed the car door angrily. "Shanga, Lu Shanga, let's talk." Shi Shang rolled down the car window a little and pulled a strange smile. "Mr. Yi, do you want to talk to me about the positions you like to use in bed with others?" The moment he opened his mouth, he started to talk dirty, shocking Yi Feng to his spot. The Shi Shang suddenly started the engine. The car had no intention of avoiding Yi Feng, so Yi Feng could only back off. The exhaust gas spewed out from the parking lot covered Yi Feng's face. He was confused. Had Lu Shenggu gone mad from anger? Buzz buzz. The phone in his pocket suddenly vibrated. Yi Feng took out the phone and looked at the name. His face immediately showed a touch of tenderness. "Ching ching." "Yi Feng, I sprained my ankle. Is it convenient for you to come and pick me up?" The female voice on the other end of the phone was sweet, with a bit of grievance and coquettishness. Yi Feng immediately became restless and agreed without thinking. When Shi Shang got home, he immediately turned off all the communication devices. Now, the media and reporters were like flies that had seen the cracks in an egg. Now that the relevant departments had intervened, she didn't do a shoddy project, and the house hadn't been handed over yet. No one had died, so it wasn't difficult to deal with it. Things that could be solved with money and violence were not difficult for Shi Shang. However, in this world, these two things were always successful. Shi Shang first treated the injuries on her body. Looking at her perfect body covered with bruises in the mirror, she couldn't help but feel depressed. Couldn't those people have rushed out a little later? At least let I take revenge first. I will pay if they beat me to a pulp. The news was all about this incident. Shi Shang was annoyed, so he turned off the TV and went online. Yi Feng had the most shares of the Lu Corporation now. The original owner still had 15% of the shares, so she was a relatively large shareholder. Shi Shang supported his chin. What should he do with the shares? Sell it at a discount? Buy one get one free? It was better to make money first. The male lead's virtual currency could be exchanged for real currency. If she didn't make money, how could she show off to the male lead? It took Han Xiao some time to get the accounts. During this time, more and more people gathered outside to cause trouble. Shi Shang only asked the public relations department to deal with it. He didn't care about the rest and let them cause trouble. "Chairman Lu, what do you want to do with this?" Han Xiao nervously handed the documents to Shi Shang. Shi Shang smiled. "You can go and resign." "Huh?" Han Xiao was surprised. "Chairman Lu, I don't want to leave. I believe you can get through this." She had seen Chairman Lu all the way. She knew how hard she worked. How could she leave at this time? "I can't leave. I can't leave Chairman Lu at this time." Han Xiao was determined in her heart. "I only asked you to resign. I didn't ask you to stop working for me." Han Xiao. How could she work for you if she resigned? "Just go and wait for my call." Shang waved his hand and shooed Han Xiao out like a fly. Han Xiao went out in confusion. What was wrong with Chairman Lu? Shang got the accounts. She found that someone was buying up the Lu Corporation shares on the stock market. It should be the male lead. Shang secretly transferred her shares into the stock market. After confirming that all the shares were bought by the male lead, Shang falsified the accounts and reported it anonymously. The falsified accounts she made were synchronized with the company's accounts. Her method was very special. If she hadn't marked it out, the relevant departments wouldn't have noticed it. The Lu Corporation was closed down for tax evasion. Coupled with the collapse of the building, the Lu Corporation's reputation was extremely bad. The finance department of the Lu Corporation was dumbfounded. Some of them had done it before, but the amount was not so large. The method was also completely different from theirs. Most importantly, the company's annual profits were not so high. However, the amount of money was not for nothing. The complete data of each item could be found. It was submitted by the branch company and reviewed by the head office. What was even more strange was that the paper backup was missing. It started from the year before last. The company was reformed. Only the head office had the paper backup. The branch company only had the electronic backup. The company's liquidity was also missing. No one knew where it went. The finance department was in a dog-eat-dog situation. A said B did it, B said C did it, C said C did it, C said A did it. Shang, of course, would not lead the fire to herself. After the investigation confirmed that she knew nothing and there was no evidence to prove that she was involved, she was allowed to go home. Because of the sufficient evidence, the other people's statements were either without evidence or the evidence could not support their claims. The Lu Corporation was fined a hefty sum and declared bankruptcy. These series of events happened so fast that Yi Feng didn't even have time to react. His mission failed so inexplicably. Yi Feng would also be punished if he failed the mission. This time, Yi Feng's points were deducted by 300. It was already difficult to accumulate points. With 3,000 points deducted, his points directly went into the negative. The company went bankrupt as soon as she came over. She was easy to mess with. The above is pure nonsense. Blame me for failing to show off. Just pretend you didn't see it. I don't want to hear it. Chapter 590. Shang didn't want to start a company, so he only gave Han Xiao a job as a personal assistant. After all, she was useless in life. Han Xiao also didn't have much ambition. Shang's salary was higher than her working in the company, so she naturally accepted it. Although she didn't quite understand why Shang was still able to spend money so extravagantly when she was already bankrupt. Bankrupt Shang. I have plenty of money. The news was all over the place, and the homeowners who bought the house were compensated accordingly, so they didn't continue to cause trouble. Shang just sat at home and waited for death to earn money. President Lu, come and see. Han Xiao suddenly called out to Shang when she was drying clothes. Shang's gaze moved from the laptop screen to Han Xiao, who kept waving at him. Shang tilted his head, his pajamas wrinkled, and there was a piece of bread in his mouth, looking a little cute. Shang put down the laptop, slowly moved to the balcony, and looked down from the window. Luxury cars, handsome guys, and fresh flowers. It's Yi Feng, President Lu. Are you still in contact with Yi Feng? Don't blame me for talking too much, but this Yi Feng is not a good match for you. He's obviously a playboy. Han Xiao commented. She had seen the ambiguous relationship between Yi Feng and that Liang Qing a few times. Previously, when she told CEO Lu about it, CEO Lu did not believe her until she saw it for herself. Now, she could not let CEO Lu be deceived by this gigolo again. Yi Feng, who was below, seemed to have seen Shang and waved at her. His face looked more like a gigolo under the contrast of the conspicuous roses. He was quite good-looking, but unfortunately, he didn't have the domineering and noble aura of someone who was born in a rich family. If he was born in a rich family, he would be crushed in minutes, but he couldn't resist the cheat. No matter how good his temperament was, he couldn't resist the cheat. He actually wanted to hit on I. How bold. Shi Shang turned around and walked back. Han Xiao looked at Shi Shang in confusion. When Shi Shang came back, he was holding a basin of water in his hand. Looking at the degree of steaming, it was probably the water she boiled for cooking. As soon as this thought flashed through Han Xiao's mind, she saw President Lu pour the basin of water directly. Ah! Yi Feng let out a blood-curdling scream. Although the basin of water did not pour all over his body, half of the water poured onto his face and hands, instantly turning them red and swollen. The roses, which had been tender and beautiful just a moment ago, were now steaming. Han Xiao. Was CEO Lu provoked? No, Yi Feng wouldn't die after being splashed with such hot water, would he? Han Xiao quickly grabbed the railing and looked outside. The water was not boiling water, and there was such a high distance between them, the temperature had dropped a lot. Yi Feng's body was only a little red and swollen, but he looked fine. Han Xiao heaved a sigh of relief. Yi Feng covered his face and glared angrily at the person upstairs. She had nothing now, yet she dared to be so arrogant with him. Lu Shengge, just you wait. He must make this woman toss and turn under his body. Before Yi Feng's bold words could be shouted out, a group of men in security uniforms quickly came from the other side and surrounded Yi Feng. Sir, a property owner has complained about your harassment. Please leave, the well-trained security guard said. Harassment? She actually told the security guard that he was harassing her. Lu Shengge, you are really something. Yi Feng glared at Shi Shang, endured the pain, opened the car door and drove away. CEO Lu, are you okay? Han Xiao looked at Shi Shang carefully. CEO Lu's domineering manner without saying a word just now was even more awesome than when she was in the company. What can happen to me? Shi Shang held his hands and returned to the living room. Han Xiao followed closely. CEO Lu, have you let go of Yi Feng? Shi Shang sat on the sofa, his whole body seemed to sink into the soft sofa. With a population of more than 1 billion, it is easy to find a man. What can't I let go of? Lu Shengge, who used to like, was dead. And she was no longer Lu Shengge. Han Xiao blinked. CEO Lu's condition was so bad before, wasn't it because of Yi Feng, this gigolo? Now that she could let go of him, she was the happiest. With CEO Lu's ability, it was not a problem for her to make a comeback. CEO Lu, it's good that you let go. Yi Feng, that gigolo, is not worthy of you. Han Xiao said happily, CEO Lu, I'll go cook first. Shi Shang looked up at her, supported his chin with one hand, and watched Han Xiao busy in the kitchen. Shi Shang's lips tugged into a smile before she lowered her head and continued to struggle with the dense pile of data. Shi Shang did not expect Yi Feng to bring a lawyer to the door. Yi Feng's injury was wrapped up like a mummy by them. The injury evaluation said that it was serious, as if he was going to die in the next second. Yi Feng, how can you be so shameless? Is your injury that serious? Han Xiao saw those things and immediately exploded. This is extortion, I want to sue you. Miss Han, please don't be agitated. The lawyer's expression was serious. Mr. Ye's injury is on his face, which seriously affects his daily life. It may even disfigure him in the future. These compensation are all based on evidence. Yi Feng sat beside the lawyer leisurely. Shi Shang kept looking at the computer and did not look at him at all. Yi Feng could not help but feel angry. Nonsense. Han Xiao threw the document at the lawyer and said angrily, Do you think I've never studied law? With Yi Feng's injury, they could only pay tens of thousands of dollars at most. But this bullshit lawyer actually asked them to pay 5 million. Was his brain kicked by a donkey? The lawyer was already prepared. He took out another document. Miss Han, this compensation is not only for Mr. Ye's medical expenses. There's also Mr. Ye's car. That car is a limited edition. Because of Miss Lu's actions, the car now needs to be returned to the factory for repair. The repair cost is huge. 5 million is already the reduced amount that Mr. Yi has given you. Han Xiao quickly flipped through the document and scanned through 10 lines at a glance. Every clause was clearly written, without any loopholes. Han Xiao then looked at Shi Shang in a panic. With so much money, where were they going to find the money to pay? A basin of water can make your car return to the factory for repair. Your car is a prop, isn't it? Shi Shang raised his head and sneered, a good car is not even afraid of a collision. Why is your car so fragile? Shi Shang's words were not polite at all. He almost said that he bought a fake car outside. Miss Liu, here is the repair bill. You can check it. The lawyer spoke before Yi Feng could. Shi Shang closed the notebook and looked indifferent. Since you dared to bring it here, it must have been tampered with. Why would I bother to check it? The lawyer's expression did not change. Whether Miss Liu is willing to admit it or not, this evidence is valid. If Miss Liu is not willing to pay, then we can only meet in court. See you in court. Ha 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 ha. I'm stuck again. Caven, who had given up on himself. That's it. Hashtag today's Mangosteen ticket. Hashtag November 26th. 2016 book review area winner Baby Mo Ling Fairy. Chapter 591. Shi Shang looked at the lawyer and signaled him to continue. The lawyer cleared his throat and shifted his gaze unnaturally to the side. Miss Liu, I also know about your current situation. But this amount is the result of Mr. Yi bearing part of it himself. If you really have no other way, you can use your house as collateral. What did you say? Han Xiao couldn't help but yell. You're here for Miss Liu's house, right? CEO Liu only had one house left. Yi Feng, this gigolo, actually wanted to make CEO Liu homeless. Shunga, I don't want to be so heartless, but you let me down. Yi Feng's face was wrapped in bandages, and his expression couldn't be seen. You're in the right and left, and you're still in the right. How shameless you are. Medical fees, right? Shi Shang grinned and rolled her eyes. She smiled sinisterly. I don't have anything else but money. Shi Shang suddenly grabbed Yi Feng and threw him to the ground beside the sofa. Miss Liu. The lawyer was shocked. Do you still want to hit him? You'll be held criminally responsible. Miss Liu. Han Zhao's exclamation overlapped with the lawyer's voice. How could Miss Liu hit him? If something happened to him, we can't afford it. Shi Shang stepped on Yi Feng's back and pinned his hands behind his back. Yi Feng's face was pressed against the cold ground, and he was screaming in pain. He didn't expect Shi Shang to hit him so suddenly, and he was unprepared. Don't worry, I won't hit the important parts. At most, I'll pay some money. Shi Shang smiled at the lawyer. Thank you, beautiful CEO, for always exercising. The lawyer was about to step forward, but his body froze. He didn't want to admit that he was frightened by a woman's gaze. But his body didn't listen to him at all, as if it was under a spell. Only Yi Feng's screams could be heard in the whole hall. Shi Shang finished the beating and took Yi Feng to the other room. When the lawyer and Han Xiao came in, they only saw the corner of Yi Feng's clothes sliding down from the balcony. Splash! There was a loud sound of water below. Shi Shang leaned against the balcony, still calm. But in his heart, he was thinking that if the male lead drowned, it shouldn't be his fault. That's right, Yi Feng didn't know how to swim. Plus, he had fallen into the water before, which made him even more afraid of water. The lawyer seemed to have thought of something and quickly rushed downstairs. Shi Shang's apartment was not high up, and there was a swimming pool downstairs. At this time, there was no one in the swimming pool. But when the lawyer arrived downstairs, he found that Yi Feng had already been rescued. A girl was lying on top of him, giving him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Yi Feng was sent to the hospital. This time, he really had to be bandaged like a mummy. President Liu, will something happen? The sound of the ambulance whizzing by below entered Han Zhao's ears, startling her and making her uneasy. You don't have to take responsibility if something happens. What are you afraid of? Shi Shang patted Han Zhao's shoulder and said, Go and see if there are any better houses. Let's go somewhere else. With Yi Feng's vengeful character, he would only do it himself and would not choose to call the police. In order to avoid seeing stallion men every day in the future, it was more important to change houses. CEO Lu. Where's the money? You're bankrupt now, okay? It's not something that can be changed at will. We have to economize and then make a comeback. Don't worry about the money. Just go and see. Han Xiao. Even if she was bankrupt, President Lu was still a domineering president. No, she seemed to be even more domineering than before. This was a little different from the bankrupt president she knew. Look at other bankrupt presidents, which one of them was not sloppy, from heaven to hell overnight, living a drunken life, giving up on themselves, and cynical. Her president was good. Not to mention not being able to eat or sleep well because of bankruptcy, she didn't even frown. Of course, there was no mention of making a comeback. It felt like she was sitting and eating every day waiting for death. She didn't expect President Lu to be such a person in private. When Han Xiao took her bag and went out, she realized that she was just asking about Yi Feng, that pretty boy. Han Xiao was afraid that Shi Shang didn't have much money, so when looking for a house, she tried to find an affordable one. In the end, she was rejected by Shi Shang in a few places. One day, Shi Shang held a magazine and slapped it in front of Han Xiao. He pointed at the building with special effects on it. It's here. Han Xiao's heart was throbbing with pain. She wanted to cry but had no tears. President Lu, this house costs tens of millions, we can't afford it. Shi Shang put his hands on the table and leaned slightly towards Han Xiao. The corners of his eyes were slightly raised, and his handsome face was full of dominance. Han Xiao's heartbeat suddenly sped up, and she couldn't help but lean back. Shi Shang stared at Han Xiao, and his voice seemed to be tinged with a bit of laughter. Do you still remember the liquidity of the Lu Corporation that disappeared? Han Xiao's wildly beating heart suddenly stopped. She had a feeling that what she was going to say next was something that she couldn't bear. Shi Shang's finger brushed past her ear and landed in front of her. Between his white fingers, there was a pale gold card. We don't lack money. Be good, go buy a house. Han Xiao's cheeks suddenly turned red. It took a while for Han Xiao to react. Her rosy cheeks looked exceptionally cute. President Lu, you transferred all the funds out? Han Xiao felt that her voice was trembling. The Lu Corporation had a lot of liquidity. It was easier said than done to transfer such a huge amount of money out. Chapter 592. Since moving into the Banyan residence, Han Xiao found that the CEO had nothing to do. All he did was eat, drink, and sleep, just like an old man. Han Xiao tried to ask questions several times, trying to find out when Shi Shang was going to make a comeback, but before she could ask, the topic was immediately changed. Mr. Lu, I picked up a dog outside. Han Xiao shouted as soon as she entered the door. Shi Shang lifted the book on his face and squinted at the door. It was a snow-white Samoyed puppy. Han Xiao led the dog in and seemed very happy. This dog is so cute. I've always wanted to raise one, but I didn't have the time. How dare you pick up a dog here? Shi Shang put the book back on his face. If the owner comes to find you, you'll have to pay for it. The people who lived here were all rich and powerful. The dog here must have been raised by them. I asked the security guards, but they didn't know who it was. Han Xiao certainly wouldn't be so reckless. I told the security guards that if the owner wants to find me, they can come here. Han Xiao probably really liked dogs and had a lot of fun playing with the Samoyed. No one came to find her until dinner time. Han Xiao was worried and called the security guards, but they said no one came to ask. Side mission. Angel's Heart. Shi Shang. What the hell was Angel's Heart? Oh my god. Wasn't this a male urban novel? Why did it change the channel? Or was it that the male lead had a woman who was actually an angel? That's awesome. The host's imagination ran wild. Angel's Heart, also known as Curse, is a very famous diamond in this world. The host's mission is to get it. Why? The side mission this time actually asked I to get a diamond? That thing couldn't be eaten, and it took up space in her space. She still had a bunch of strange diamonds in her space. And destroy it. The system added. Shi Sheng blinked. That's possible. I knew the host was more interested in destruction. Angel's heart. Why did this thing sound familiar? Check the Angel's heart data. No, I refused. However, the system still couldn't control itself and began to recite. Angel's heart, produced in the deep sea of Lithia. It was independently polished and carved by the famous sculptor Carl Johann over the course of 7 years. Due to its rare color and unique shape, it was given the title of Angel's Heart. The Angel's Heart was passed through many countries, but everyone who obtained it would be cursed, so it was also called Curse. A cursed gem? But why did this quest have to be done by me? What does it have to do with you? This mission is related to the male lead. The system continued to explain uncontrollably. It wanted to shut up, but it couldn't. Sob, sob, sob. Master, come back quickly. The host is going to break me. What relationship? The system heaved a sigh of relief. This question required a higher level of authority to answer. The system did not reply for a long time. Shi Sheng said faintly, I have to change it when I get back. No, host, please let me go. After Shi Sheng finished talking with the system, Han Xiao was still playing with the dog. Shi Sheng grabbed the laptop and started typing furiously. Angel's heart. Angel's heart. Rumor has it that it was finally collected by the Sea Country's royal family. There were so many reports about the Angel's heart online. Sea Country? What the hell? President Liu, what are you talking about? Han Xiao did not hear what Shi Sheng was saying, so she couldn't help but ask. Nothing. Shi Sheng shook his head. Han Xiao touched the Samoyed suspiciously. At this moment, the doorbell suddenly rang. Han Xiao went to open the door. The Samoyed followed behind her. As soon as the door opened, the Samoyed barked twice and ran out of the door. Shi Sheng didn't care at first, but suddenly there was a quarrel outside. The sound was getting closer and closer. Han Xiao was pushed and her body fell directly at the door, knocking it open. Shi Sheng walked a few steps over. Outside the door stood a delicately dressed young girl. She had a head of curly hair and looked very pure and sweet. Isn't this Lu Shengguo? As soon as the young girl opened her mouth, the pure sweetness disappeared in an instant, leaving only sarcastic disdain. You can still live here? Are you being kept by someone? Shi Sheng helped Han Xiao up. His eyes swept over the young girl, and the corner of his mouth slightly raised. Xiao Linglong, Yi Feng's pure little junior sister. Xiao Linglong knew that the original owner and Yi Feng were close, and had always been jealous of the original owner. A trace of hatred flashed across Xiao Linglong's face. She held a haughty attitude and snorted. Sure enough, the kind of person raises the kind of servant. You actually allowed her to steal my Shui Shui. Where is your upbringing? Han Xiao explained, Miss Xiao, I've already said that your dog is lost. I've already talked to the security, and I didn't steal your dog. If this kind of thing happened to other people who had no conflict with Shi Sheng, they would only need to explain. Unfortunately, they met Xiao Linglong, well said. Why don't you send my dog back to me? Xiao Linglong sneered. Lu Shengguo can't even afford to pay you, so you came to steal my Shui Shui. If you're so short on money, I can help you a little. Han Xiao was annoyed. If she knew that the dog's owner was such a person, she wouldn't have picked up the dog even if she was beaten to death. Do you believe that I'll cut you if you continue to talk nonsense? Shi Sheng suddenly became ferocious. This mature woman's face was definitely very scary when she was ferocious. Xiao Linglong took a step back. You, Lu Shengguo, you have nothing. Now you have to rely on men. What's there to be arrogant about? Do you still think that you're the CEO of the Lu Corporation? Towards the end, Xiao Linglong's voice became louder. She was no longer the CEO Lu that everyone praised. Why was she afraid of her? Her family always compared her to Lu Shanggu, but she was still in dire straits. In this circle, among the rich young ladies, Lu Shanggu was the most popular. When a person was in the limelight, they would also attract hatred. Lu Shanggu belonged to this kind of person. Other than men, there were a lot of rich young ladies in the circle who didn't like her. But it was different now. She was no longer the strong woman, Lu Shanggu. She was bankrupt. She was in dire straits. Xiao Linglong couldn't help but straighten her back and look at Shi Shang fearlessly. *CK your man. With just one look, you can tell that I'm the big boss of a kept man, okay? Idiot. Shi Shang's hand that was behind his back slowly appeared. A cold light flashed across Xiao Linglong's eyes. A chill suddenly rushed from the bottom of her feet to her head. Shi Shang raised his hand and was about to cut her. Xiao Linglong's expression changed drastically. She turned around and screamed as she ran away. Lu Shanggu, you're crazy. The Samoyed didn't run with Xiao Linglong. Instead, it lay on the ground and shivered, letting out a low whimper. It was probably scared by the iron sword. Chapter 593. Han Xiao was shocked when Shi Shang suddenly pulled out the sword. She only came back to her senses when Xiao Linglong screamed and ran away. She didn't seem to have prepared this kind of decoration for Chairman Lu, right? What a realistic sword. When did Chairman Lu bring it back? Han Zhao's head was full of question marks. Shi Shang poked the Samoyed on the ground with the sword. The Samoyed howled pitifully. Han Zhao's mouth twitched. Why did she feel like Chairman Lu wanted to poke the dog to death? The dog is innocent. Please be merciful. I'm sorry, Chairman Lu. I've caused you trouble. Han Xiao apologized guiltily. If she didn't bring the dog back, Xiao Linglong wouldn't have come. And Xiao Linglong wouldn't have said such unpleasant words. Shi Shang poked the dog for a long time. The howling made Han Zhao's heart soften. Such a cute dog. Chairman Lu, how could you do that? How much for one of these? Shi Shang asked out of the blue. Han Xiao was stunned and answered cautiously, normal ones aren't expensive. A normal Samoyed was only a few thousand. But the people who lived here were all rich people. Who knew if this dog was plated with gold? Its value would probably be many times higher. Anyway, it was beyond the reach of normal dogs. Xiao Linglong came back quickly with her people. She just happened to see Shi Shang poking her dog. She grabbed the people beside her and ran over. Lu Shanggu, don't touch my shui shui. Yi Feng was surprised to see Shi Shang. He still remembered what happened last time. He couldn't help but feel a little depressed. He went to the previous place to look for her, but it had been sold. He couldn't find her. Now he saw her in such a high-end place. How could Yi Feng not be surprised? This woman actually had the money to live in such a high-end place? Probably because someone was supporting Xiao Linglong. Xiao Linglong directly rushed to Shi Shang. Let go of shui shui. Shi Shang laughed and poked it again. He smiled evilly and said, I poked it. What can you do to me? So what if you have the male lead supporting you? I am a man with a sword. Samoyed. Ow wow, I'm innocent. Han Xiao. CEO Lu's style was getting weirder and weirder. It must be because she had never seen CEO Lu in real life. It must be like this. Yes, it must be like this. You. Xiao Linglong was so angry that her face turned red. She grabbed Yi Feng's hand and shook it. Brother Feng, quickly help me save shui shui. Her voice was as soft as a kitten's, making one's heart go numb. Most men liked women who acted coquettishly, and Yi Feng obviously had such a setting. With Xiao Linglong acting coquettishly, how could Yi Feng resist? Shunga, let go of exquisite snow. Why do you have to be so calculative with a puppy? I didn't pull it. Shi Shang looked at Yi Feng as if he was an idiot. It doesn't want to leave. Are you blaming me? Brother Feng, she wanted to kill me just now. Xiao Linglong complained as her petite body leaned against Yi Feng. I want to kill you now too. Shi Shang waved his iron sword, his smile full of malice. Xiao Linglong was so scared that she shivered and hid behind Yi Feng. There were tears at the corner of her eyes. Her pitiful look was heartbreaking. Lu Shunge, are you crazy? Yi Feng's eyes were full of anger towards Shi Sheng. If you don't take your little beauty with you, I might really go crazy. Shi Sheng looked around. Was there any surveillance camera here? Wouldn't it be troublesome to kill someone? Host, don't have such dangerous thoughts. The system dutifully reminded him, although it was useless. When Yi Feng heard Shi Shang's words, he didn't know why, but he thought, Shi Shang was jealous. She still liked him deep down. Women were indeed cheap. If Shi Shang knew Yi Feng's thoughts, he would kill Yi Feng even if he had to destroy this world. Yi Feng couldn't help but soften his expression. Shunge, put down your sword. If you like dogs, I'll give you one. You can return this one to my junior sister. Shi Shang looked at Yi Feng, who had calmed down, inexplicably. Did he take the wrong medicine? Xiao Linglong also felt the change in Yi Feng. She couldn't help but secretly glare at Shi Shang. She was seducing Brother Feng again. Brother Feng. Xiao Linglong grabbed Yi Feng's arm. Is Lu Shunge really crazy? Look at her eyes. It's like she's a different person. What happened before must have been a big blow to her. Yi Feng looked at Shi Shang from head to toe. His eyes stayed on Shi Shang's chest for a few seconds. He also felt that Lu Shunge was a different person, especially when she was facing him. That look in her eyes was as if he would dissolve in the next second, not even leaving a trace of him. Sister Lu, I know a doctor. Do you want me to introduce him to you? If you're sick, you should be treated. If you need money, I can pay for it. Xiao Linglong continued to look for trouble. Hey, eyes temper. Shi Shang raised his sword and slashed at her. The iron sword whistled through the air. A tyrannical pressure crushed over. Xiao Linglong's little face suddenly turned pale. Maybe she was scared out of her wits, but she didn't dodge. This time, Yi Feng was prepared. He held Xiao Linglong and dodged to the side. The iron sword brushed past his back, bringing with it a bone-piercing chill. Yi Feng couldn't help but shiver. It was so cold. It felt like he suddenly fell into a world of ice and snow in his underwear. Before he could steady himself, the chill swept over again. Yi Feng threw Xiao Linglong to the side. The two of them rolled into the flowers on the side. Shi Shang just took 2 steps forward. Suddenly, a yellow thing fell from above and hit the ground beside Shi Shang's feet. Buzzing noises could be heard instantly, followed by which, dark hornets flew out of the beehive. Shi Shang. My luck is amazing. The iron sword swung through the air. Before the hornets could get close, they were blown away by a gust of wind. They flew around dizzily in the air. The perfect formation was broken. Shi Shang swung again. A group of hornets was thrown to Yi Feng and Xiao Linglong. Ah! Xiao Linglong's scream suddenly sounded. Yi Feng hurriedly protected Xiao Linglong and drove away the hornets. However, the effect was not good. Yi Feng could only protect Xiao Linglong and escape. The hornets buzzed and chased after them. In the end, the two of them were saved with the help of a group of security guards. However, the two of them were badly stung, especially Yi Feng. His whole face was swollen. Xiao Linglong's face was protected by Yi Feng. She was fine, but her arm was badly stung. Brother Feng. Xiao Linglong grabbed Yi Feng's hand. Her face was full of tears. Her voice was full of grievance. Lu Shanggu did it on purpose. Yi Feng's expression changed very quickly. Ever since he got that magical software, he had never been so aggrieved. Xiao Linglong chattered. Lu Shanggu is bankrupt. How can she still afford to live here? Brother Feng, Do you think she has a boyfriend? What she said sounded nice, but the implied meaning was, Shi Shang was kept by someone. After all, how could a down-and-out CEO afford to live in such a high-end place? Yi Feng's expression darkened. Asterisk, please vote. Hashtag the host who can never light up her cooking skills deserves to eat instant noodles. Hashtag Shi Shang put the instant noodles aside and said seriously, I found it in the kitchen. Didn't you buy it? Han Xiao shook her head. I've never bought instant noodles. If you didn't buy it, did I? Shi Shang glared at him. Maybe you took the wrong one. Really? I'm hungry. Shi Shang interrupted Han Xiao. Han Xiao. She really didn't buy it. However, looking at Shi Shang's determined expression, she began to doubt again. Had she really bought it? It couldn't be that. Was it haunted? Han Xiao was scared by this thought and had goosebumps all over her body. She must have taken the wrong one. She turned on all the lights in the kitchen and finally felt a little safer. After the wasp incident, Xiao Linglong's father, Xiao Mao, suddenly sent someone to send her an invitation to attend a jewelry auction. Xiao Mao sent the invitation either because of Xiao Linglong, or someone was plotting against her. No matter which one it was, she wanted to show off to the male lead. She was going to show off too. President Liu, we don't have to go. These people didn't seem to have good intentions. Shi Shang crossed his legs and sat casually without a care for his image. Do you know what we should do when the enemy is in a good mood? In their current state, they could only endure, and then make a comeback. However, President Liu didn't seem to have any intention of making a comeback. So what should they do? Shi Shang's lips curved slightly and his light pink lips moved slightly. Show off. Han Xiao was dumbfounded. You have to have the ability to show off first. Can we walk out of the auction if we show off like this? Even if we don't get beaten to death, we will be mocked to death. Han Xiao's dissuasion was useless. On the day of the auction, Shi Shang still went. He didn't bring Han Xiao. Han Xiao was very tired. President Liu actually asked her to wait for him outside. Was he planning to run away after showing off? Shi Shang had just stepped through the door when someone came up to him. The man's gaze wandered around her body with evil intentions. Isn't this President Liu? Who did you come with? What President Liu? The man's female companion sneered disdainfully. The Liu Corporation is gone. What kind of President Liu is she? You can't say that, baby. After all, she used to be a president. We have to be polite. The woman pushed the man and said coquettishly, I think you like her. Baby, how can that be? I like women like you, just like President Liu. The man's gaze moved up and down. How boring in bed. These two people were here to ridicule Shi Shang. Shi Shang's face slowly hung a bright smile. Under the surrounding lights, it was even more dazzling. The man was dazed for a moment. Shi Shang slowly approached him. His smile widened. The next moment, it suddenly became sinister. The man was so shocked that he gasped. Suddenly, he felt a pain in the back of his foot. Shi Shang stepped on the man's foot and walked over. After 2 steps, he walked back. The smile on his face was still there, but it was full of malice. Whether I'm interesting in bed or not, you'll never know in this lifetime. Shameless. The woman scolded. Shameless people are invincible. Shi Shang touched his face narcissistically. Besides, this face of mine is much better than yours. Liu Shangji's face could definitely make a living in the entertainment industry. Coupled with her body, even if she was a vase, there would be people paying for her. Hit the snake where it hurts. When it came to women, it was nothing more than beauty. Men. Luxury goods. The woman's face turned green. Who wants to compete with you in terms of beauty? President Liu's skin is much thicker than before. The man endured the pain and gritted his teeth. There were many people watching the show. Ever since the Lu Corporation went bankrupt, this beautiful president, who used to be the center of attention, seemed to have disappeared. Now, she was so arrogant as soon as she appeared. Without a doubt, these people who had been speculating all year round started to wonder if she had hooked up with a rich man or if she had some tricks up her sleeve. When the Lu Corporation went bankrupt, many people harbored dirty thoughts and waited for her to come to their door and ask for help. Who wouldn't want such a beautiful woman? What made everyone's jaws drop was that she, the legitimate head of the Lu Corporation, didn't even try to save it. She just watched the Lu Corporation go bankrupt. Now, she was still so arrogant. How could they not be suspicious? Just as they were secretly guessing, Shi Shang said faintly, "Those who have nothing to lose are not afraid of those who wear shoes. If we're going to die, we'll die together. We'll share our blessings. Don't you think so?" Everyone trembled. What kind of blessings was this? This Lu Shang Gu must have gone crazy from the stimulation, right? Chapter 595. Due to Shi Shang's scary words, the onlookers started to disperse. Don't argue with a lunatic. Maybe the lunatic will kill you in the next second. You really came. A delicate voice came from Shi Shang's side, with a hint of disdain. Shi Shang turned his head and saw a woman holding a glass of champagne, leaning against the wall. Her long legs were exposed from the slit of her chong sam, very seductive. Liang Qing, an A-list celebrity. She was also the woman who persuaded the original host to accept Yi Feng's other woman and asked to share the same husband. Lu Shengge, look at how miserable you are now. Liang Qing sympathized with her. If you had agreed to be with Yi Feng, would you have ended up like this? Otherwise, would I be like you? Shi Shang raised his eyebrows, watching your man with another woman. Liang Qing probably still felt uncomfortable, but she didn't show it on her face. Instead, she said affectionately, "I'm willing to be with a man like Yi Feng. As long as I have a place in his heart, I'll be satisfied." I can't agree with this theory. Men should belong to her alone. Whoever dares to touch him will be killed. Oh, what if he's just a poor boy? When Yi Feng was poor, even the school bell didn't like him. Yi Feng without money, even if he had a good appearance, it was just so. So, money is really a good thing. It's necessary to be an evil capitalist. How can Yi Feng be a poor boy? Liang Qing looked at Shi Shang with disdain. Shi Shang smiled. He's always been a poor boy. Yi Feng was born in the countryside. His family wasn't very well off. He was able to go to university with financial support. If it weren't for his cheat, he would still be a poor boy working part-time all day. Lu Shengge, are you jealous? Jealous? What a joke. What's there to be jealous of? Okay, I'm jealous. Who told him to be the male lead and have a cheat so easily? I don't even have a newbie gift package. Does the host plan to remember this joke for the rest of her life? Liang Qing took 2 steps towards Shi Shang. She was as proud as a queen. Lu Shengge, you were the one who gave up on Yi Feng. You brought this upon yourself. I don't care about a man who has slept with so many women. Liang Qing's expression changed slightly. What's wrong with men having a few women these days? In this circle, who didn't have a group of women in private? Yi Feng was rich and handsome. He was much better than those old men. Shi Shang grinned and said in an extremely arrogant tone, "Well, it's nothing. That's why I plan to keep a few more gigolos." Liang Qing, on the other hand, seemed to have heard a funny joke as she laughed hysterically. Lu Shengge, are you daydreaming? With your current net worth, it's more like you're being kept by someone. Ah, that's right. You didn't come here with a man today, did you? I really didn't expect that the beautiful CEO who used to be so glamorous would end up being a kept woman. Shi Shang thought that Yi Feng's women were all crazy. They were all kept as mistresses. Other than being kept as a mistress, was there nothing else in her mind? Yeah, I'm being kept as a mistress. You don't like it? If you don't like it, you can ask Yi Feng to keep you as a mistress. Idiot. Shameless people are invincible. When I'm shameless, even I'm scared of myself. Liang Qing was speechless. She dared to be so arrogant even though she was being kept as a mistress. How shameless. Heh. Then I don't know who's lucky enough to keep you as a mistress. Liang Qing sneered. He's really blind. No matter how blind he is, he's not as blind as Yi Feng. Shi Shang put on a fake smile. What kind of women did he have his eyes on? Shi Shang's gaze fell on Liang Qing's chest. As Liang Qing's expression gradually changed, he suddenly realized something and said, maybe Yi Feng doesn't look at the inside, but the outside. No wonder he likes me. Having a good figure is also a sin. Liang Qing looked down at her body and then looked at Shi Shang. Her expression became even worse. Her figure was much worse than Shi Shang's. Lu Shengge, are you always so shameless in private? Liang Qing said hatefully, no wonder people are fighting for you even when you're bankrupt. Do you want me to introduce you to a few people to help you expand your business? Shi Shang narrowed his eyes and smiled faintly. How can I steal your business? Liang Qing reacted half a beat later. She raised her hand angrily to slap Shi Shang. Shi Shang quickly dodged to the side. Liang Qing's hand hit the railing behind Shi Shang. It was a loud, muffled sound. Ah! Liang Qing screamed in pain. There are always idiots who want to harm me. Scared. Shi Shang pulled her from behind. Liang Qing's body staggered backward. Her high heels tilted and she fell to the ground. Kocha kocha. Flashes suddenly sounded. Liang Qing's scream had attracted a lot of attention. A few reporters appeared out of nowhere and madly took pictures of Liang Qing, who fell to the ground. When Liang Qing fell, her legs were wide open. Her underwear was directly exposed to the reporters. Liang Qing couldn't care less about the pain on her wrist. She quickly closed her legs and pulled the Chong Sam to cover it. The pain and anger on her wrist made her expression twisted. There was no beauty left. However, the reporters had already taken enough photos. They were already thinking about how to use the title. Hashtag the beautiful goddess on the screen dressed up like this to attend an event. Hashtag the goddess of the screen and the former beautiful president of the year. Hashtag Shi Shang shrugged innocently. You can't blame me for this. Who told you to hit me? I'm already being merciful by not cutting you with my sword. Liang Qing was so angry that her body trembled. Liang Qing was hurriedly taken away by her agent. At this time, Xiao Linglong came in with Yi Feng. The two wore matching dresses. When they stood together, the man was handsome and the woman was charming. What a perfect couple! Liang Qing saw this and couldn't help but get angrier. As a woman, even if she admitted that the man had other women, she still hoped that the man would treat her well. Yi Feng was already a little famous in the circle. Many people knew this young man who suddenly appeared. He was handsome, generous, and spent a lot of money. His appearance was no doubt high profile. Xiao Linglong leaned on Yi Feng like a little bird, enjoying the envious and jealous gazes from all around. Yi Feng was already a little famous in the circle. Many people knew this young man who suddenly appeared. He was handsome, generous, and spent a lot of money. His appearance was no doubt high profile. Xiao Linglong leaned on Yi Feng like a little bird, enjoying the envious and jealous gazes from all around. Little fairy, curious. Daughter, do you really want to keep a gigolo? Shi Shang, cold face, what for? Little fairy, weak voice, warm the bed? Feng Ci, smiling, I think you forgot about your son-in-law. Little fairy, ah, who let this psychopath out? Shi Shang, who are you talking about? Little fairy, me, please vote. Chapter 596. Yi Feng probably saw Shi Shang, but he didn't come over. Instead, he brought Xiao Linglong to the lounge. Shi Shang stood alone in the corner, bored. When the auction started, Yi Feng brought Xiao Linglong out. What was strange was that Xiao Linglong had changed her clothes. Xiao Linglong's face was peachy, shy and timid. She followed Yi Feng like a little wife. Ske. Yi Feng's speed of sleeping with girls was really good. Liang Qing and Xiao Linglong should have been slept with by Yi Feng. The crazy girl next door shouldn't have been slept with yet. The cold-blooded killer hadn't appeared yet. Yi Feng's 4 girls had already slept with half of them. However, Sheshang saw Liang Qing enter the hall. She had changed her clothes, and her expression was similar to Xiao Linglong's. This was F*King awkward. Sheshang couldn't bear to look at it. He held his forehead and admired the author. The auction officially started. Yi Feng went up and raised his sign. The things he bought were all over the place. Sheshang squinted his eyes. Was it a mission? Yi Feng didn't need to pay for the money he spent on the mission, but there was a limit. For example, if the value of the item exceeded, Yi Feng had to pay for the extra money. Sheshang secretly raised his sign. Number 52. Yi Feng saw her raise her sign and immediately went against Sheshang. Number 7. Number 36. Number 52. Number 7. The entire auction became the main show for these 2 people. The idling background started to gather and chat. Wasn't it rumored that Yi Feng and Lu Shengguo were close? What's up with these 2 now? Yi Feng bought the Lu Corporation before, but it went bankrupt. Could it be that Yi Feng hates Lu Shengguo? When Yi Feng bought the Lu Corporation, some people thought that Yi Feng was going to go overboard this time. However, he didn't take it to heart. What's the background of this Yi Feng? They investigated Yi Feng's background, but other than knowing that he was a student of some university, they couldn't find anything else. Could it be that some big tycoon came to squander money? Yi. This surname. Going once on the 7th, going twice on the 7th, going thrice on the 7th. Sold. The auctioneer made the final call. Everyone stopped talking and looked up. The big screen showed the final price of the auction. A piece of jewelry that was only worth $1 million was sold for $5 million by these 2 people. The rich didn't understand the world of the rich. In the following auctions, whenever Yi Feng didn't raise his paddle, Sheshang would raise her paddle secretly. As long as she raised her paddle, Yi Feng would raise his paddle as well. Then, it became an auction between the 2 of them. Sheshang's nonchalant attitude made Yi Feng dislike her very much. She had nothing, yet she still dared to put on airs in front of him. Did she really think that he would always like her? So, today's last auction item, Lucky. The MC placed the last item on the display table. It was a diamond bracelet. The audience was in an uproar. Many people had come for the last item, Lucky. This bracelet was made from the same material as the angel's heart. It was a bracelet made from the leftover corner of the angel's heart after Carl John finished carving it. Although its value couldn't be compared to the angel's heart, it was made from the same material as the angel's heart and Carl John's fame. This bracelet was also the target of many collectors. Carl John gave it to his wife and named it Lucky. The meaning of this bracelet was luck. He hoped that this bracelet could bring luck to his wife. And it could indeed bring luck to people. It was the exact opposite of the curse of the angel's heart. Of course, this was just a rumor. Lucky has been missing for a century. Not long ago, our auction house was fortunate enough to receive a commission from the collector who collected Lucky. Due to his own reasons, he wanted to auction it off. I'm sure everyone knew when you came here. So, this bracelet that can bring luck to people, who will be the lucky one? The auctioneer explained the origin and value of Lucky in detail. The starting price is 80 million. Each increment must be no less than 1 million. The auction officially begins. 82 million. 83 million. As soon as the auctioneer's voice fell, someone made a bid. No one could tell the value of the angel's heart. It could be as high as a few billion, even if it had the title of curse. Even this lucky bracelet that was the exact opposite of the curse was worth several times more. Those who made a bid now would definitely not be able to afford it. Those who had the ability to get lucky hadn't made a bid yet. Sheshang looked at Yi Feng. Although Yi Feng tried his best to hold it in, his facial expression still betrayed him. He was very excited at this moment. He wanted that bracelet. And Xiao Ling Long obviously wanted it too. She pulled Yi Feng's arm and acted coquettishly. Shi Shang held his chin and thought. She wasn't interested in this thing. Then, raise the price. After all, the male lead was rich. He didn't lack this money. So when the bidding reached the climax, those who made a bid had already stopped. Now, the competition was for those who had the ability to get lucky. Shi Shang increased the bid by 10 million every time. Some people were so angry that they wanted to vomit blood. Chairman Liu, you're already bankrupt. What are you doing here? Chairman Liu, do you have the money to pay? Someone couldn't stand it anymore and asked sarcastically. Anyway, I'm not the one who pays in the end. Shi Shang answered matter-of-factly. Lu Shengge, you're deliberately raising the price. Yes, can't I? Shi Shang looked at that person with a smile. You don't even have this much money. How dare you call yourself a rich person? Everyone. You're too calm when you admit it. The auction didn't explicitly state that no one was allowed to raise the price. After all, the higher the bid, the more commission the auction would get. Who would complain about more money? Shi Shang looked at these people calmly. Now, there are two solutions. Either you continue to bid, or you throw me out. After a pause, he kindly suggested, well, I suggest you choose the first option. You can't throw me out. Everyone. This bankrupt CEO was so arrogant. Someone, throw this bankrupt CEO out. The last sentence had the same effect as, if we're going to die, we're going to die together. What happened before had traumatized these people. They felt that the bankrupt CEO came to the news agency. So they chose to continue bidding. The price had risen to 460 million. Yi Feng didn't give up bidding. Shi Shang would only bid after Yi Feng finished bidding. It was obvious that he wanted to make things difficult for Yi Feng. Some people couldn't help but stare at Yi Feng angrily. Yi Feng was the one who got into trouble, and now they were going to follow suit. But as the price continued to rise, these people could only look at it and sigh. They always thought that they were rich, but now they realized that they were so poor that they had to eat dirt. 656 million. This was the highest price Lucky could get. Any higher and it wouldn't be worth it. The people who were bidding gave up. In the end, there were only 3 people left. Yi Feng, Shi Shang, and a man in a suit. The man in the suit sat straight and didn't say anything. He just raised his paddle silently. Chapter 597. Yi Feng was a bit anxious. The price was almost beyond his budget. Other than Shi Shang, there was also a man in a suit that he didn't know. Yi Feng braced himself and continued to bid. Shi Shang gave up after 2 bids because she realized that the man in the suit had no intention of giving up at all. The price of the auction was skyrocketing. It was so expensive that the rich people wanted to eat dirt. The world of rich people was so scary. Yi Feng wanted to give up. This price was not something he could afford. Just as this thought flashed through his mind, he caught sight of Shi Shang, who was sitting not far away. Seeing the undisguised mockery on her face, Yi Feng's heart was instantly filled with anger that could not be vented. What right did she have to sit there so openly and look at him with such a mocking expression? She was the one who was bankrupt. The 2 voices in his head were arguing. Keep bidding. Don't let her look down on you. Let her see how stupid it was for her to give up on you. Give up bidding. You don't have any extra funds. Don't ruin things for a woman. Just as Yi Feng was struggling, someone else joined the battle from the back. It was a middle-aged man in a suit. He looked no different from the others. The crowd was in an uproar. This was probably the only time they would see such a scene in their lives. 900 million. The man in the suit opened his mouth for the first time. He directly raised the price from 790 million to 900 million. Everyone looked at Yi Feng. It's your turn, rich man. Yifeng was sweating. Before he could call out, the middle-aged man behind him had already done so. 1 billion. 1 billion. Shishang suddenly called out. All the rich people. Are you talking about mud? You just opened your mouth and raised it by 100 million. And the bankrupt CEO, aren't you afraid that no one will take the bid? Where are you going to get 1 billion? Yifeng looked at Shishang's expression and felt that she was provoking him. His brain heated up and he blurted out, 2 billion. There was a strange silence. The man in the suit and the man at the back did not raise the price. The auctioneer waited for a while before saying, once on the 7th, twice on the 7th, thrice on the 7th. Congratulations to this gentleman for winning, lucky. I wish you luck in the future. He made a lot of money, he made a lot of money. The auctioneer's face was almost rotten from laughing. Yifeng. Why isn't anyone bidding? Many people stood up to congratulate Yifeng, saying things like young and promising blah blah blah. Yifeng definitely didn't have that much available funds. He had to scrape together funds from all over the place to make up for it. In the end, all his previous efforts were in vain, and he owed the software a lot of points. Yifeng thought about it and felt that something was wrong. Could it be that the two people who bid at the end were hired by Lu Shenggu to trick him? Very likely. He didn't expect this woman to be so cruel. At this moment, Yifeng probably hated Shishang to the core. When Shishang left the venue, he was stopped by the man in a suit. Miss Lu. The man in the suit bent down slightly, then took out a small box from his suit pocket. A gift for our first meeting. Shishang. What the hell? Why did he give her a gift out of the blue? There was something wrong with him. Shishang stepped back and went down from the other side. The tall figure of the man in the suit immediately jumped in front of Shishang. Miss Lu, welcome. Not a single word was different. Even the tone and expression were the same. Meet your grandpa. There's a psychopath here. Shishang kicked the man in the stomach. The man in the suit thought that Shishang didn't have much strength, so he didn't take him seriously. But when he fell to the ground, he was stunned. When the man in the suit came back to his senses, Shishang was already gone. The man in the suit got up from the ground, walked in a direction in frustration, crossed the road, and got into a car parked on the side of the road. It was very quiet in the car. Young master, Miss Lu didn't want it. What did you say? A very pleasant voice sounded from the side. The light in the car was very dim, so the person's face couldn't be seen clearly. Miss Lu, welcome. The man in the suit repeated with the same tone. You idiot, who told you to say that? The person called young master suddenly reached out a hand and slapped the man in the suit's head. Who told you to say that? Who? The man in the suit covered his head. Young master, you said that before. His retelling was correct, not a word missing, not a word missing, not a word missing, not a word missing. Why did the young master hit him again? The man in the suit was thrown out of the car, and the car drove away. Shishang quickly got into Han Zhao's car. President Lu? Han Zhao looked at Shishang's anxious face and her heart was in her mouth. President Lu didn't really do anything, did she? Drive, there's a psychopath behind us. Shishang urged Han Zhao. Han Zhao looked behind the car and could vaguely see a figure coming this way. It was too far away, so she could only tell that it was a man from his height and figure. Han Zhao immediately started the car. Shishang only started to curse after the car left the road. One man in the suit was enough, but there was actually a strange uncle. She was scared to death. Is my baby's beautiful appearance so attractive? Han Zhao looked at Shishang strangely, touching her face and hands. What was President Lu doing? Han Zhao felt a little scared. The next day's news was very grand. The lucky bracelet was sold at a sky-high price. Actress Liang Qing's sexy underwear didn't even seem important. For a moment, everyone was talking about the sky-high price of the lucky bracelet. If it wasn't for the strict confidentiality of the auction, Yi Feng would definitely be in the headlines. There were also people who questioned whether the lucky bracelet could really bring luck. Therefore, the person who won the bid became the focus of attention. Everyone was curious about who this godly tycoon was and whether he would really be blessed by the god of luck. But thinking about it, if he could spend more than $1 billion on a bracelet, even if he didn't have the lucky bracelet, he was already a very lucky person. At the same time, since the auction, rumors of Shi Shang being kept spread in the circle. There were all kinds of gossip. There were even people who dug up the original owner's previous relationships and investigated all the men who were related to her. In the end, the investigation somehow turned into the presidents who had intimate relationships with the beautiful president. President Liu, look at what they wrote. Night meeting with a certain president for 3 hours, driving away in the early morning. This is obviously because President Zhao was in a hurry to go abroad the next day, so you went to talk about the cooperation at night. Why did it become a night meeting with a certain president? Han Xiao pulled out a few untenable words in a row and said agitatedly with a red face. These reporters really had nothing better to do. Why didn't they report about the lucky bracelet? Why did they talk about President Liu? Shi Shang leaned on the sofa with a leisurely expression. Why are you so agitated? They can just say the reason. Do you think it will become true just because they said it? President Liu, you don't know how terrible the public opinion is now. Some time ago, a little girl was forced to jump off a building because of public opinion. Even if you didn't do it, in their eyes, you did. These internet mobs are not rational at all. Asterisk, please vote. Please vote. Chapter 598. Shi Shang certainly knew the horror of public opinion. But she was not one of those fragile little girls. When I get violent, the whole world has to surrender. Shi Shang really didn't want to listen to Han Xiao's nagging. She said that she was hungry and asked Han Xiao to cook. After sending Han Xiao away, Shi Shang opened the computer and browsed through the major forums. These posts could be summed up into a book called My Romantic and Beautiful CEO. There are masters in the world. Shi Shang sighed as she browsed the web. After sighing, she remembered that she hadn't opened a hole for a long time. Digging a hole. Shi Shang forgot about the online defamation in the blink of an eye. When she finished the outline and the first 3 chapters, it was already dark. Han Xiao came twice. The first time was to ask her to eat, and the second time was to deliver food. However, when Shi Shang came out, the internet was full of lucky Liang Qing. What the hell? Shi Shang finally found Liang Qing's Weibo in the fragmented words of these people, and Liang Qing posted a picture on her Weibo. It was Liang Qing wearing the lucky bracelet. The time was half an hour ago. Shi Shang refreshed the page, and the picture that was there just now suddenly disappeared. At this time, Liang Qing was quarreling with Yi Feng. Yi Feng returned the phone to Liang Qing with a bad face. How could you post this on the internet? Liang Qing was also full of anger, but she pursed her lips and didn't speak. Liang Qing did this to show off, and to let Yi Feng's woman know that she was special in Yi Feng's heart. But she didn't expect that Yi Feng, who had always been gentle, would be so angry and almost hit her. The more Liang Qing thought about it, the more wrong she felt, and tears fell down. You weren't like this before. Yi Feng saw that Liang Qing was crying and his heart immediately softened. Liang Qing was Yi Feng's goddess before he had the tycoon's free cultivation software, so he was more attentive to Liang Qing than other women. Yi Feng went forward and hugged Liang Qing. Liang Qing was a little angry. The two pushed and pushed for a while, and Liang Qing still rolled with Yi Feng. After conquering in bed, Yi Feng and Liang Qing analyzed how stupid she was. He was holding a bracelet worth more than $1 billion. Liang Qing's actions would not only bring trouble to him, but also to herself. Sorry, I just thought it was fun. I didn't think too much about it. Liang Qing apologized pitifully. What do we do now? Give me your phone. Liang Qing immediately complied. Yi Feng logged onto Liang Qing's Weibo and took a few pictures with Liang Qing's hand and posted them together. Liang Qing v. I heard that this bracelet can bring good luck. If it's true, I definitely can't afford it. I just happened to meet a few fans who gave me one. Thank you, little fans. I hope that my upcoming drama will have a good box office. Picture. 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 Yi Feng even tagged Liang Qing's crew that was about to start broadcasting. The production crew was a little confused, but since they could use the popularity to advertise, the production crew immediately responded. This was undoubtedly an advertisement for a bracelet with a sky-high price. First, he posted a picture without saying anything. Then, when everyone was discussing fervently, he posted a few more pictures to create a new drama. His intentions were not too obvious. Shang saw that the internet had calmed down and started to discuss Liang Qing's new drama. He curled his lips in disdain. Yi Feng didn't seem to be stupid. The next day, Shang was woken up by Han Xiao. She rubbed her aching head and looked at Han Xiao with a cute face. Chairman Liu, there's someone outside looking for you. Han Xiao helplessly helped her clean up the messy table. Chairman Liu had the foresight to ask for a personal assistant. With Chairman Liu's useless lifestyle, Han Xiao wondered how she survived in the past. It's so early in the morning, who is it? Shang got up from the bed. I don't know him. He's been waiting with the security. Without the owner's permission, the security would not let anyone in. Han Xiao didn't know him either, so she naturally didn't dare to make a decision. Shang went downstairs in a bad mood and saw an unfamiliar face on the walkie-talkie. Well, it wasn't unfamiliar. It was the man in the suit that she saw at the auction. How did he find her here? Shang asked someone to let him in. However, as soon as the man in the suit entered, he was tied up by Shang. Han Xiao was dumbfounded. Chairman Liu, kidnapping is illegal. Although she thought so, her body went to close the door to prevent others from seeing. Shang looked at the roses that the man in the suit dropped on the floor. There were still water droplets on them, as if they were just picked. Tell me, what do you want? Shang dragged a chair and sat opposite the man in the suit. The man in the suit had no expression on his face. He looked like he had facial paralysis. However, he was roaring inside. This Miss Liu is so violent. Why did the young master ask him to send flowers? Oh, young master, I want to go home. Flowers. The man in the suit answered honestly. He was here to send flowers. Why do you want to send me flowers? Do you like me? The man in the suit didn't answer. He just followed the young master's orders. How would he know what to do with the flowers? Maybe the young master just thought it was fun. Well, his young master was more capricious. Speak, are you mute? Shang took out his iron sword and slashed him. The man in the suit gasped. Why did he have to be beaten by the young master? Why did he have to be beaten up here? He couldn't accept it. The man in the suit gritted his teeth and didn't say anything. The young master didn't ask him to tell Miss Liu, so he couldn't say anything. Who asked you to send me flowers? What's your purpose? Sending flowers for no reason, he was either trying to kill her or coveting her body. The man in the suit shook his head with a poker face. No matter how Shang asked, the man in the suit either shook his head or didn't say anything. Otherwise, he would say the word, flowers. This was even more suspicious, okay? I'm so angry. That idiot is coveting my beauty. Chairman Liu, is it okay for us to kidnap someone without permission? Han Xiao said weakly. The man in the suit immediately nodded. Kidnapping is illegal. One look and I know he's up to no good. He must be plotting something. Shang looked serious. Han Xiao. How was sending flowers a plot? Maybe he just likes you. How did Chairman Liu know he was up to no good? The man in the suit was innocent. He really was just sending flowers. There was no plot. Why did he have to take the blame for the young master? He couldn't accept it. Ahem. Chairman Liu, there's no evidence. Han Shao blinked at Shang. What if he sues us for kidnapping? You're still being blackmailed even now. Have you ever seen a hostage delivered to your door? Shang rolled his eyes. This person walked in on his own accord. It had nothing to do with him. How much did your boss pay you? I'll pay you double. Tell me who's plotting against me. Han Shao. Do your parents know you're twisting words and forcing logic? The man in the suit. Young master, I want to go home. Money won't make me yield. Chapter 599. When Shang increased the money tenfold, the man in the suit gave in. But Shang only heard the following conversation. It's our young master. Who's your young master? It's our young master. What's your young master's name? It's young master. This idiot. The man in the suit looked so serious that Shang suspected that he really didn't know his young master's name. His young master was right to use him. Even if he was bribed, it would be useless. Just as Shang was about to let go of the man in the suit, the door was suddenly knocked open, and policemen with guns filed in from outside. The scene suddenly became strange. The kidnapped man in the suit and Shang with the sword looked like he was about to kill someone. The policemen all broke out in a cold sweat. If they had come one step later, this man would have been killed. Lu Shengge, put down the weapon. The policemen pointed their guns at Shang. Han Shao had already been subdued and was escorted to the side, looking at Shang in confusion. Shang. I wasn't going to kill anyone. Shang moved his fingers, and the iron sword slowly fell. The policemen all stared with their eyes wide open, not even daring to breathe. Bang! Clang! The one who fired the shot was a young policeman. After firing the shot, he threw the gun away, held his head and howled. Murder! He killed someone. But the others didn't have the time to care about this young policeman. Everyone's eyes were on the iron sword in Shang's hand. The iron sword just now blocked the bullet. Shang stretched his neck and looked at the iron sword. The mirror-like blade reflected the group of policemen opposite him. Shang suddenly raised the sword, looking like he was going to kill the man in the suit immediately. The air froze for a moment, and Shang's sword was getting closer and closer to the man in the suit. Fire! As soon as the order was given, the policemen immediately began to shoot. Countless bullets pierced through the air and shot toward the Shang. F***ck. This bunch of idiots. The speed of the bullets was very fast. They hit behind her and made a crackling sound. However, none of the bullets hit her. They were either deflected by the iron sword, blocked, or missed by their own volition. After shooting for a long time, he ran out of bullets, but the person on the other side was still standing intact. Reinforcements. Centennial Residence Number 12 requesting reinforcements. The policeman took out his walkie-talkie and began to contact the headquarters. Today was simply too strange. Shang stabbed the iron sword into the ground, got into position, and roared domineeringly. I said, "Bang! Crash!" Shang looked at the broken chandelier on the ground silently. His heart was broken into pieces. Amazing, my luck value. Shang pulled a stool and sat down with a heavy heart. He looked at the man in the suit who was sitting opposite him with a straight face and respected him for being a real man. "Why did you barge into my house?" Shang's voice was weak. "You opened fire as soon as you came in. Are you crazy?" He raised his voice abruptly and scared the people on the other side. "You are in the right to kidnap someone?" Policeman boldly asked, "Do you know that kidnapping is against the law?" "Who told you that I kidnapped someone?" Shang glared at him. "If he told me, I definitely wouldn't kill him. Let me tell you, young lady. You're so young and have so many years ahead of you. I can see that you're well educated. Why do you have to do something that will ruin your future?" The policeman advised gently, "Put down your weapon and let's talk. If you have any problems, you can tell us. If we can help you, we'll definitely help you. She Shang looked at the policeman from the corner of his eyes. Do you have 1 billion yuan for me? The policeman was speechless. Was this girl crazy? She was so crazy that she must be crazy. She must be a psychopath with some ability. Did you tell them that I kidnapped you? She Shang kicked the man in the suit. The man in the suit shook his head mechanically. His facial expression was very stiff. So in the eyes of the police, she was threatening the hostage. She dared to threaten the hostage in front of them. She was simply looking down on the police. Look, I didn't kidnap him. I just asked him a few questions. She Shang's innocent face suddenly turned serious. You just shot at me for no reason. I'm going to sue you. The policeman was speechless. This was the strangest case they had experienced this year. The suspect was actually going to sue them. She Shang used his iron sword to cut the rope of the man in the suit. The policeman was silent again. Why did she release the hostage? Was she scared? A policeman winked at the man in the suit, indicating that he should hurry over. The man in the suit didn't move for a long time. The policeman was confused. What was going on? The hostage didn't have a bomb on him. Why wasn't he moving? My legs are weak. The man in the suit squeezed out 2 words. These people shooting at him scared him to death. At this moment, the sound of sirens echoed outside. At the police station, She Shang sat with his arms crossed, his feet arrogantly propped up on a chair next to him. The man in the suit and Han Xiao were separated and sat on their respective sides. The police station was strangely silent. From time to time, people's eyes fell on She Shang. They heard that this woman could dodge bullets and wanted to sue the police. She was so awesome. The lawyer hired by She Shang soon arrived. After watching She Shang's explanation and law enforcement video, the lawyer felt that he had lived in vain before. If it were him, he would also think that this girl wanted to do something outrageous. Ahem, he was now the lawyer of his client. He couldn't think of his client like that. After the lawyer's full communication with the police station, as well as the testimony of the community security guard and the man in the suit, it was finally determined that She Shang was really not the kidnapper. Sue them. She Shang slammed the table. If I wasn't so powerful, they would have become a beehive now. We must sue them. Miss Liu, don't be agitated. At that time, your behavior was too suspicious. Our law enforcement officers. Don't talk nonsense. Just tell me, if I were a weakling, where would I be now? The police. Autopsy table? The lawyer. This client seemed to be crazy. Should he say something or not? The police officers present at that time were standing in a row with their heads down. They didn't even dare to breathe. In front of them, a middle-aged man was pacing back and forth. You guys, how many years have you been in the police force? How can you still make such a mistake? She's going to sue you now. Chief Zhang, you didn't see it. Miss Liu looked like she was going to kill someone. At that time, she was holding a sword like a lunatic. Even an old criminal police officer who had been in the police force for a lifetime would suspect that she was going to kill the hostages. She didn't do it at all. There is sufficient evidence and witnesses. Chief Zhang had a headache. When She Shang first arrived at the police station, he also saw how arrogant he was. Unfortunately, they didn't care about it now. Then it's not right for her to casually tie someone up. Wouldn't that be suspicious? The point was that she was holding a weapon. She's an important suspect in another case. How can she be in the mood to sue us? You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.